Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Neglected Naruto wields suzumebachi. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Shugo Tensai and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. The village of Konohagakure no Sato could be said to be a peaceful place in the evenings, for it was the hour when couples took walks together, spouses came home to one another, and the sun had begun sinking into the sky, painting it orange and purple and many other colors in the spectrum. But this evening was not peaceful for some inhabitants of the village, or rather one inhabitant of the village who was at the moment running for his dear life. Uzumaki Naruto, he was many things at the age of 7. A prankster, an idiot depending on who you asked, but none of those titles followed him around like the one he hated most. Demon Child. The great tragedy in the form of a massive chakra known as the nine-tailed fox or the Kyuubi no Kitsune, struck Konoha. It killed thousands of men, women and children, and rampaged until it was defeated by Konoha's greatest hero, the Yondaime Hokage. But the beast didn't die, instead it was sealed into the body of a newborn. That child was Uzumaki Naruto. While the general hope was that he would be accepted as a hero, Naruto instead grew up scorned by the villagers for doing what they could not, for keeping the Kyuubi at bay. Then thereafter he was referred to as the demon itself who struck out against the village, with almost no one wanting to realize the difference. At this very moment Naruto was running. His feet pounded hard against the cobblestone streets of Konoha as he moved dodging and ducking hard, trying to get away from a mob of angry citizens who had made it their sacred duty to beat the tar out of him. His assigned guards were nowhere to be seen. So much for the Anbu elites. He thought, though he surmised they probably had something against him too. At this point it would be a challenge to name someone who didn't have someone against him. Naruto ran through Konoha with the mob trailing after him. His legs were tired as he had been running for almost an hour, but he couldn't stop now, lest he wants the mob after him to catch up. He followed the shadier streets of Konoha, hoping to lose some of his pursuers, but soon wound up facing a dead-ended alley far from witnesses, not that they would help even if they were there. He was about to turn back when he found his path blocked by angry villagers. Naruto panted and tried to force his way through the crowd, but he was thrown back against the wall, hitting it with a solid thump. The blonde nearly blacked out but forced himself to stay awake. Who knows what the mob would do to wake him up? Naruto gulped as they rushed at him all at once. They chanted as they hit him, cursing his existence. All the blonde could do was cry out and hope somebody heard. Help. He screamed, only for a foot to stomp his stomach. No one is going to help you, can't you see they all want you dead? A civilian said. Naruto coughed up blood and tried to weakly crawl to safety, but the mob was having none of that. Help. Naruto whimpered weakly. He hoped someone or something would come to his rescue. He feared he wouldn't make it this time. Pink eyes snapped open at the sound of a weak call for help. Suzumebachi nearly cried in joy after years of waiting. Her new wielder had finally awoken. Another cry for help halted her excitement. Her wielder needed her, they needed her help. Determination flashed across her pink eyes. It was time to move. Suzumebachi soon found herself in the sewer that was her wielder's mindscape. He must be going through some real problems if his mind's this bad. The Zanpakuto thought as she flew through her new master's mind. She soon happened upon a giant orange fox with its 9 tails waving around sadly as it watched a screen. Hey! Suzumebachi called, waving her hand and stinger to get the fox's attention. The creature turned to look at her. Satisfied that she had succeeded in capturing his attention, she spoke. What are you doing in my master's mind? Are you also a Zanpakuto? She asked. The fox chuckled. No, I am not a sword spirit, I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune, and this child who is your master is my container. The beast explained. What is going on with my wielder? I heard him call for help. She said, remembering why she was there in the first place. The Kyuubi's expression turned grim and he inclined with his head for her to take a look at the screen. Suzumebachi watched with growing horror as her master, the Kyuubi container, was assaulted mercilessly while he cried for help. Why are they doing this? She asked, feeling herself grow angry. Because of me. The Kyuubi said remorsefully. Seeing the Zanpakuto's confused stare, he continued. I attacked the village 7 years ago, and the only way to stop me was to seal me inside the child that you see before you. The fools of the village saw him as my reincarnation and have treated him like that ever since. The fox explained. What did you attack the village? Suzumebachi asked, trying to keep her anger in check. I did not do it freely. A man called Uchiha Madara cornered me and used his dojutsu known as the Sharingan on me. I was rendered temporarily insane. In that state I attacked the village. Kyuubi explained sadly. What have you been doing in here? Why haven't you helped him? Suzumebachi asked. Because of the seal, I cannot do anything but lend him chakra. An energy he cannot control yet. Kyuubi replied. Only the container can get rid of the seal. He added. Well, I'm not restricted by some seal. Suzumebachi said with a growl. Her Riatsu glowed and soon she found herself in beside her master. She wondered how she was able to freely manifest, but she left the thought alone. It's best not to look a gift horse in the mouth. She takes one look at the cowering child and feels anger course through her veins. He was already healing, but any more hits and he might not make it. What's this, a little bug? One of the villagers sneered. Suzumebachi growled loudly, despite her diminutive height. She was stunned for a moment, wondering how he could see her. Leave this child alone, he has done nothing to you, he doesn't even fight back, and all you do is beat him. You're all just a bunch of cowards. Suzumebachi screamed. What would you know, you're just some fly. Nothing more than a bug to be crushed under our shoes. The man said. Suzumebachi flickered for a brief moment. To the civilians it looked like a flicker, but in that moment she had used her Shikai move, Nijeki Kasatsu, or death in 2 steps. The man who spoke was swallowed up by a butterfly-shaped crest and had vanished into oblivion. Is there anybody else who wants to test me? She asked in a sickly sweet voice. The kind that promised pain to anybody who defied her. The mob cleared faster than Yoruichi using Shunpo. Suzumebachi turned to the child who was bleeding out. She could see his wounds closing up, and that relieved her because she could not make heads or tails of the medical stuff. Thank you, Fairy-san. The boy said, his voice was hoarse. Probably from all the screaming out loud he did while under punishment. Suzumebachi flew in front of him, hovering just above his nose. What's your name? She asked him. Uzumaki Naruto. He replied. She nodded as if in approval. Well, Naruto-kun, I am Suzumebachi and I am your sword. She told him. Naruto gained a confused expression. Suzumebachi flew to a dark corner of the alley and tugged out a sheathed wakizashi with a yellow hilt. Naruto helped her pull it out since he noticed her other hand was encased in a stinger. That is my sealed form, I will teach you how to wield me perfectly, Naruto-kun. Suzumebachi said to him. Together we will be strong. She said. Time skipped 3 years later. Naruto is 10. It had been 3 years since Naruto had met Suzumebachi in Kaiubi. Naruto was happy to hear that the demon fox was not as bad as everyone made him out to be. He also learned the name of the fox was Kurama. Suzumebachi had been happy that her master had heard her name the very first time she said it. Not many Zanpakuto could boast about their masters hearing them immediately they spoke. She wondered why that was, figuring it had something to do with where he was. The more she stuck around, the more she noticed that this place was a mixture of soul society and the human world. Her wielder didn't have Ryatsu, but he did have something similar, chakra. The new energy coursed through her, making her presence stronger in this world than it had been with any of her past masters and mistresses. It made her happy she would be able to assist Naruto. It was sad to say, but he didn't have anyone. She began teaching Naruto everything she knew, both her own skills and those of her former mistress, or at least gave him the theories. Even though Naruto lacked the Ryatsu to pull the techniques with the help of Kurama, they were able to find great chakra substitutes, and the rest Naruto developed on his own, through a mixture of ingenuity and sheer luck. Into the beginning of the first year, Suzumebachi had taught Naruto speed techniques and substituted Shushin for Shunpo. His Shushin was simple without unnecessary elements like smoke or leaves. It was a teleport technique quite like Shunpo. She also taught him to improve his stealth using pranks and bright clothing. Now, even if Naruto wore the sun, no one could spot him even in plain sight. The next years were spent combining all of the above, as well as adding Kenjutsu to the mix. Naruto still had to use her sealed form after all. Suzumebachi and Kurama found it funny that after meeting them, Naruto had developed an obsession with hornets, bees, foxes and other things that related to the three. His favorite colors were yellow, black and orange, and his items, and as well as clothes, were mostly black and yellow, though he still wore a bright orange jumpsuit as it had been a gift from the Hokage. By the time Naruto had started the academy, he was well ahead in what they were going to teach him as well as above his peers. Suzumebachi was disgusted by how lax the academy was. Kurama tried to calm her down, stating these were peaceful times. Let the children be children. To which she agreed. Naruto couldn't help but agree with the fox. Still being of a young age, he wanted to play and have fun with the other children, even though they didn't reciprocate. Suzumebachi and Kurama wanted him to get good grades, and for that he had to pay the utmost attention at the academy, even if he didn't want to. As a result of that, Naruto ended up somewhere around average in the class. It would have been higher, but some of the academy instructors were unkind in giving him his marks. Naruto would usually skip classes to train with his Zanpakuto or the Kyuubi, but made up his grades thanks to extra credit work with the academy instructor Yamino Ruka, who didn't hate him for the Kyuubi and was the only one able to catch Naruto after a successfully pulled prank. I think you should keep your skills a secret, kid. Kurama says one evening as Naruto did the dishes before bed. He was standing on a wooden box elbows deep in a sink filled with running water. The conversation came up as he scrubbed a plate clean of food particles. Why Kurama-kun? The 10-year-old asks, a bit disheartened by the statement. Suzumebachi hovers beside him, placing a tiny hand on his shoulder. He's right, Naruto-kun. The best ninja keep their skills a secret. She winks at him, causing Naruto to laugh a bit. But Sasuke gets to show off. Naruto whines a bit. Suzumebachi sighs. Taking note of the villagers' attitudes towards her charge, she knew his strange abilities would be called into question, they would not stand for it if the demon child was as clever and cunning as the fox he housed. It's different for the Uchiha, you know that. You're not like the other children, Naruto. Kurama said gently. Naruto's lip wobbled a bit and the beginnings of tears formed around his eyes. He nods. I have an idea. We're going to play a game, Naruto-kun. Suzumebachi said enthusiastically. Naruto faces her. Really? Let's see how much of a fox you are. She said. We're going to trick the entire village. Naruto scrunches up his face trying to understand. That's going to be difficult. He said. I've never done a prank that impacted the whole village before. There's a first time for everything. She said. So Naruto put up a convincing mask of an empty-headed, orange-wearing, ramen-loving dope. Iruka also helped him hide his test scores and gave fake ones to him in class to further cement the illusion. So far it was only Iruka that knew the true Naruto. A smart, diligent young man with a heart of gold and a will of stone, or in this case fire. It was another boring day at the academy. Naruto tried to keep himself awake long enough to hear what Iruka was talking about. He summarized it had something to do with the Shodame's treaty with Kumagakure. A treaty that is no longer valid. Naruto grumbled under his breath, the stuff in the textbooks were outdated and Iruka was trying his best to keep the students informed about current events, which included the part about the treaty no longer being valid. It feels like this class is going to drag on forever. Naruto whined to Suzumebachi, who was lounging in his mindscape with Kurama. It probably will. The Hornets and Pakuto said nonchalantly. Naruto groaned mentally. After what felt like hours, classes halted for recess and no one was more overjoyed than Naruto. Recess meant silence and no squabbling from all of Sasuke's fangirls. Naruto sat on his wooden swing and rocked back and forth slowly, letting the light breeze blow on him. No one would come to the swing because according to them, he had tainted it. Naruto was just glad he didn't have to share it with annoying 11-year-olds. It was bad enough being the youngest in the class, but then his classmates always had to pick on him. It was obvious where they got that attitude from. It would be 2 more years before they graduated and became ninja, and even then there was a possibility he might fail due to prejudices. Soon Naruto got bored of his swing and walked through the village. He arrived at a well-kept garden and smiled. One thing he loved about Konoha was the scenery. It was one of the things that kept him here. Screw the people, if anyone hurt his precious flowers he would sting them to death. He smelled them and smiled. No one knew he took particular care of this garden, so it would blossom and bloom beautifully. With his visit to the garden done, Naruto shushed into the academy, making sure no one saw him, but someone did a certain heir to the Aburame ninja clan. Uzumaki Naruto, it seems there is more to you than what meets the eye. He thought. Naruto was in the woods taking note of the hornet and beehives he had cultivated with Suzumebachi's help. They were thriving successfully under his watchful eyes and the eyes of another stranger. Naruto knew someone was also helping him watch after his bees and hornets, but no one he knew came to mind. So he just let the person continue, hoping he or she didn't have some ulterior motives. The blonde was taking notes on the growth of hive A which he had fed chakra when he heard a rustle in the bushes. Naruto had his wakizashi out in an instant. He didn't care what position the ninja or civilian he was about to get occupied, he would not let them near his hives. A young boy came out of the bushes. He wore a beige high-collared coat with a hood and sunglasses, his pants were maroon in color, and he wore dark sunglasses which let no one see his eyes. You're from the academy? Naruto stated, sheathing his sword. What's your name? He asked. I am Aburame Shino, and I am quite impressed with the colony of bees and hornets you have cultivated. Shino replied in a stoic tone. Naruto felt his cheeks heat up. He coughed lightly into his hand and tried to look dignified. Thank you, I assume you are the mysterious helper that tends to them when I am not available. Naruto asked. Shino nodded. I am also very impressed with your work. Colony C and D have thrived under your watch. I almost thought they were not going to make it. Naruto admitted honestly. Shino nodded again. He was happy to find a kindred spirit in his appreciation of insects. You care a lot about these hives, don't you? Shino asked. Naruto smiled, a real smile, not the ones he wore to make a fool of himself in class. It was a small smile, but it had a huge meaning. Trust. Yes, I do. The blonde replies. Shino nods. Then I would very much like to share my notes and recorded progress with you. That would be appreciated. A friendship formed between the two bug lovers not long after that, and every day after the academy classes were over, they would go to the garden or look after Naruto's hives. One day while Naruto was staring at the flowers blooming in the garden of the academy, Shino asked him a question he wanted to avoid. Naruto-kun, I have noticed the hateful looks and stares whenever we walk to the garden, I want to know why that is. Shino said, watching some bees pollinate the buttercups he and Naruto had recently planted. Naruto turned to him with a look that said, you're not going to drop this, are you? Shino responded with a shrug. It's just like how most people cannot understand how your clan is host to a swarm of insects. I also am a host to something, but it is loved even less than your Kakechu. Naruto said, watching as a gentle breeze blew through the garden, carrying the scent of flowers through the air. It's a village secret, isn't it? Shino asked, though it was more than an observation. Yes. Naruto replied. Whatever it is, I promise I will not hate you. Shino said. Naruto turned to him with an expression of surprise. You promise? He asked. Despite his maturity, he was still a child. He didn't want to have hope and then have it snatched so cruelly away from him. Shino nods. I promise. He said. Naruto launches into a hug, the first they ever shared. He knew Shino didn't like to be touched, but he hoped the Aburum would allow it this once. Shino matches the hug with one of his own. I trust you to tell me when you are ready. Shino said, adjusting his glasses. Naruto nodded and they turned back to watching the buttercups. Sunset came once more with its orange reds and pinkish purples. Naruto remembered when he met Suzumebachi at a time like this. It was his best and worst memory. It'd be good for you. Suzumebachi said. She had manifested out of the mindscape and was flying around lazily while Naruto did his academy assignment in his apartment. It was no longer the run-down thing it used to be, with the Kyuubi teaching Naruto basic sealing. He blonde had enough imagination to assign defense seals all over the building, since he practically owned it anyway. He and Suzumebachi brought back what furniture they could get and also abandoned knickknacks. It was all they could do to make the place feel lived in. Money had to be spent on important things like food and clothing, as well as ninja supplies for later use. Who would Suzume-chan? Naruto asked. Shino duh. The small Zanpakuto said. Naruto blushed. Kurama chuckled in his mind. I agree, kid, he would be a fine mate. The fox teased. Naruto did a wonderful impression of a goldfish that evening. Time skipped 2 years. Naruto is 12. The day Naruto and his family were waiting for finally came. The genin exams were finally here and he couldn't wait to take the damn thing already and graduate. There was still that lingering fear he wouldn't pass, but at the end of the day, Naruto was assured his skills were strong enough to let him through. Naruto, the genin exams are today. Haruka said as they stopped by Naruto's favorite ramen stand. The Chunin had seen how hard the boy was working and found it prudent to reward him in some way. And what better way than to buy Naruto a special treat? I know that, Haruka-sensei. Naruto said, eating his ramen. This was his third bowl already. Turns out his training and Kyuubi chakra burned more calories than exercising on fire. Haruka paid for the meal and dragged Naruto from the table before he could add more to the bill. They both began walking to the academy. I mean, are you going to keep your mask up or are you going to give them all you've got? The man asked. Naruto shrugged. Why? Graduating at the top of the class is just for show. I know that, but you deserve not to be underestimated. Haruka said. Naruto smirks. You know, when I was younger I didn't want to hide my skills. But now I don't think I'd like it any other way. Let them underestimate me. The academy doors came into view. Haruka told Naruto get to class while he fetched the papers for the written portion of the exams. Are you ready for this? Naruto asked. Shino pushed his glasses up the bridge of his nose and Naruto translated that as I was born ready. Naruto giggled and Shino was glad for his high collar because it hid his blush. Naruto was always able to get through his calm facade and Shino didn't know how he did it. To be truthful, I am a little nervous. I have too much chakra for a regular bunshin, so I hope my backup plan works. Naruto told him. Shino nodded in understanding. Hinata took a seat beside them. The shy Hyuga heiress pushed her thumbs against each other while breathing in deeply. Naruto remembered how he met her. After saving her from a group of bullies, she became one of his friends. Good morning and Naruto-kun, Shino-kun. She greeted quietly. Naruto and Shino tried to help with her speech, but it was clear something else caused her to stutter nervously around everyone. I guess you're nervous about the exams too. Naruto said knowingly. Hinata nodded. Naruto gave her a grin. Don't worry Hinata, you're one of most clever kunoichi in our class. Hinata gave a small smile. Thank you Naruto-kun. Hinata said with her face growing hot. Anytime. The written test was relatively simple. Once Naruto had gotten rid of the genjutsu he was sure Mizuki had put there. He was sure he passed with at least an average score. Next came the accuracy throws. Sasuke got 9 out of 10 in his shuriken throws and 10 out of 10 in his kunai throws. Next came Shikamaru, he got 5 out of 10 shuriken and 6 out of 10 in his kunai throws. Kiba, Ino and Sakura made 7 out of 10 in both kunai and shuriken throws. The rest either made score that had failed them this part of the exam or just enough to help them pass. It was surprisingly Shino, Hinata and Naruto that made 10 out of 10 in that portion in the exam, much to the pride and anger of some of the spectators. Haruka patted Naruto on his back and gave him a secret smile. Naruto returned it. Sasuke and his fangirls of course fumed, especially since Naruto was seen as the dope of the class despite being just average. Alright, gather round students, this is the Taijutsu portion of the exam and the second to the last test before you become genin. Haruka announced. He directed the students to a wide circle and created a simple but durable mud clone. The objective of this is to see how well you can use the academy Taijutsu or your clan Taijutsu to dispel this clone or knock it out of the circle. Any and all forms of Taijutsu are allowed as well as ninja tools, but no ninjutsu is allowed. Haruka said. Mizuki came up and began giving instructions. You heard what Haruka said, so line up and prepare to battle. He said. He glanced toward Naruto, who was simply observing the plum blossoms of the academy's tree. I can't believe that brat passed both portions of the exam after I used Jinjutsu on him. He really is a demon. Mizuki thought. Sasuke got into the ring with a blank look. He went into the standard academy Taijutsu stance and rushed at the clone of Haruka-sensei. The clone dodged Sasuke's first punch and blocked the roundhouse kick that the Uchiha threw his way. Sasuke jumped back and threw some kunai. While the clone avoided the kunai, he didn't notice Sasuke come behind and chop him at the back of his head. The clone dispelled, dissolving into mud. Well done, Sasuke. Haruka praised, writing something down. Alright then, next in line, please enter the circle. It was only after Haruka said that Naruto moved from watching the plum blossoms. They looked nice this time. He remembered it had been a while since someone watered the tree. He was last in line, but that gave him time to think with his two tenants. I can't wait to start going on missions. Naruto said to Kurama and Suzumebachi. You say that now, one day you'll miss these mellow days. The Kyuubi said sagely. Suzumebachi agreed. I'm gonna definitely miss these lazy days. She said. I just want to get through these exams. Mizuki-sensei has been staring more and more at me since the written exams. Naruto said. He watched some of the civilian-born ninja to beat battle and found them lacking. While the clan children had the advantage of being trained by experienced ninja in their clan, they still weren't better. Only a few exceptions. He watched as Hinata jukened the clone until it dispelled. Naruto cheered for her as she walked off blushing. Kiba also used his clan's Taijutsu, a combination of his and Akamaru's attacks dispelled the clone after a few minutes. Naruto cheered for Shino as he entered the circle. Shino got into a stance and, like Sasuke, he charged forward and delivered a sweeping kick to the clone's legs. The clone jumped to avoid Shino but missed a punch that struck him squared in the nose. The clone jumped back and rushed toward Shino, who readied himself with a kunai. The clone threw a punch and Shino dodged, kicking the clone's feet from under him. The clone dispelled when it hit the ground. Naruto beams at Shino, but the blonde could not tell if the other returned it or not. Up next is you, Naruto. Haruka said. Naruto entered the circle and readied himself for the fight. The clone stared back at him. Alright, begin. Naruto's goal was just actually to knock the clone out of the circle. He didn't really want to show off, like Sasuke. He would take the Shikamaru approach and only do enough to pass. Here I go. Naruto said to himself as he ran forward, throwing some shuriken as he did so. The clone had no choice but to jump back to avoid the incoming projectiles. Naruto kicked at the clone, once again forcing it to move back. Using his speed to his advantage, Naruto delivered a sweeping kick to the clone, who jumped, and the roundhouse kick which knocked the clone out of the circle. Haruka nodded in approval while Mizuki glared at the blonde. Well done, all of you. We only have the ninjutsu portion of the exam before the passing students receive their forehead protectors. Haruka said. Once the students were back in the classroom, Haruka told them that they would be called one by one to take the exam in another room. Naruto sat by Shino, wringing his hands nervously. He was just as bad as Hinata. I feel there is nothing to worry about, Naruto-kun. Shino said, resting a hand on the blonde's shoulder. Naruto breathed nervously and continued to do the sitting equivalent of pacing. I know, but still it's worrying. I mean, this could make or break my ninja career. Naruto said. Don't worry, nah, Naruto-kun, I'm sure everything will go smoothly. Hinata said. Naruto calmed down a little at her words. Maybe I'm panicking for nothing. He said. Just as Sasuke walked into the room wearing his forehead protector. He looked toward Naruto with a blank stare. Naruto returns it, glancing up and down Sasuke's frame. It seemed the exam hadn't fazed him at all. What are you staring at, dope? Sasuke glares. Nothing. Good luck on your exam scores. Naruto says, amicable. Sasuke gives a confused expression. He doesn't say thanks but proceeds to sit down. Uzumaki, Naruto. Mizuki said, bringing up a file. Naruto nodded. Please perform Kawarimi. He said. Naruto exchanged himself with a nearby chair perfectly, and since Haruka was right beside him, he could not wrongly fail Naruto. He mentally growled at the thought. Now henge. He said, trying to find fault in the Kyuubi container. Naruto's henge was a perfect copy of the Sandaime Hokage. Mizuki forced a smile. He went on to the next jutsu, which was Naruto's worst, hoping he would fail. Please perform a Bunshin, Naruto. He said with a hidden smirk. Naruto nodded and focused. Suddenly 3 replicas of him appeared. What? Mizuki shouted. He expected Naruto to fail at this portion of the test, but he passed with flying colors. Is something wrong, Mizuki? Haruka asked, obviously worried by the alarmed shout that had come from his colleague. I'm fine. Mizuki lied. Haruka handed Naruto his forehead protector and hugged him. I'm so proud of you. Haruka said to the blonde. Naruto smiled before putting the protector around his neck. Mizuki seethed as he watched the two. He was going to use Naruto get the forbidden scroll by telling him it was a makeup exam, but the stupid brat passed when he was supposed to be dead last. Mizuki had seen his test scores that ranged from F's to D's to C's. There was no way the kid would have passed all the portions of the exam unless he was hiding intelligence from the beginning. And Mizuki refused to acknowledge he had been tricked by the fox kid. Naruto went back to the classroom, smiling. Shino raised an eyebrow. Translation. Didn't I say you would pass? Naruto rolled his eyes. Yes, I should have listened to you, oh great Shino-kun, how could I ever have doubted your wisdom? Naruto said sarcastically. Hinata giggled. Shino shook his head in amusement. Congratulations, Naruto-kun. Suzumebachi said as she whizzed around the apartment. I knew you could do it. She said. Well, it's all thanks to you and Kurama-kun that I passed in the first place. Naruto said, setting his school bag on the table. Thank you, both of you. Without you guys I don't know how I would have made it out of the alley that night, let alone get through the genin exams. Naruto said sincerely. The Kyuubi smiled in his mind and Suzumebachi flew to sit on his shoulder. You're welcome, Naruto-kun. The Hornets and Pakuto replied. Indeed. No one would ever thank the Biju in them for anything in their life. Kyuubi said. That night Naruto slept blissfully while Mizuki was caught trying to steal the forbidden scroll which Naruto had learned Kage Bunshin from a long time ago. The next day Naruto had a full Western-styled meal of eggs, bacon and toast, which he was able to shop for thanks to a handy technique called henge. He left his apartment and took the rooftops to the academy, surprising many ninja who knew he was just an academy student. He landed by his usual swing and walked at a leisure pace toward the building. As he approached he could already hear the squabbling fangirls of one Uchiha Sasuke. He entered the class, took a seat near Sasuke because his usual seat was occupied. He hoped for a peaceful morning, but forsook the wish as soon as he sat down, the classroom filled with screaming brats after all. Is it me or do they get louder every time? Suzumebachi asked. I actually think they do. Naruto replied, resting his head on the table. He decided to take a light nap, but it was disturbed when one Haruno Sakura and her rival in love Yamanaka Ino burst into the classroom head to head and neck to neck. Everyone knows Sasuke-kun is mine, Ino pig. Sakura screeched. Ino snorted loudly. As if. Sasuke wouldn't want a giant forehead girl like you. Ino retorted. The two continued to scream at the top of their lungs at each other until they noticed Naruto. Naruto stared lazily at them. He regarded the two and gauged their skills. Haruno Sakura, one of Sasuke's most fanatical fangirls. Naruto for the most part avoided her. Her name meant cherry blossom and her hair was the same color, but that was where the similarity stopped. Yamanaka Ino, a feisty blonde with a degree of ninja training due to her family background, she and Naruto hung out at her family shop due to their mutual love of all things flower related. Ino was about to greet her friend when Sakura spoke. And just what do you think you are doing in my seat, idiot? Sakura asked, her eyes blazed in fury and promised pain if she didn't like the answer. If Naruto was a lesser man, he would hightail it out of there, but he wasn't and the rest of the class looked on in anticipation of what would come next. I thought you were the top kunoichi. When a sitting muscle is planted firmly to the surface of an object it is called sitting. Naruto said, smirking. Some of the class snickered, as did Ino, who was standing beside Sakura. Even Sasuke cracked a smile before remembered it was unbecoming of the Uchiha clan and frowned. Sakura blushed in embarrassment and turned to use force. Naruto, you better move or I'll move you. She hissed in anger. Naruto snorted. I'd like to see you try. He said. Sakura made a fist and struck out. Naruto dodged and her knuckles hit the table, hard enough to dent it. She recoiled in pain. I told you. Naruto sang. Haruka took that moment to come into the class. He took note of the scene, Sakura cradling her hand and glaring holes at Naruto, said blonde, ignoring her and Sasuke being well Sasuke. His sweat dropped. Good morning. I suppose I shouldn't call you students anymore because as from today you are all ninja, the future generation of your village and your clans. But beware, the life of a ninja is not an easy one. But I wish you all the luck and success a teacher can give. At the end of the short speech he could see some of his students had moist eyes. Clearly he touched their hearts and that made Haruka all the more proud. He looks to Naruto, who gives him a thumbs up and a grin. Haruka felt himself smile before he began calling out team placements. Team 7 will be Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto perked up at his name. I hope you get teammates you can work with. Kurama said. Me too. Suzumebachi added. Naruto agreed. He knew he would work with anybody, so long as it wasn't a fangirl. Haruno Sakura, Haruka called out next. Sakura glared at him and he glared back even harsher. Why was he stuck with her of all people? Sakura was one of the most intelligent girls in class, no one denied that, but it came with a level of immaturity that was so far unparalleled. Naruto didn't know if he had the patience to deal with her. The only thing that would make it worse would be and Uchiha Sasuke. If Naruto had no self-control, his wail of anguish would have been heard throughout the elemental countries, but he did the opposite and remained silent. He had no problem with Sasuke, but he came from another side of immaturity and arrogance Naruto also didn't know if he could deal with. At this point he didn't know who was worse. Sasuke or Sakura. He huffed, no use in crying about it now. He just had to make the best of it. Naruto sent an apologetic look to Shino. He knew the other boy really wanted to be his teammate, along with Hinata, and Naruto really wanted to be theirs also. But when life gives you lemons, move on. See that piggy, the power of love triumphs. Sakura said to Ino. Suzumebachi wondered if beating the stuffing out of the pink-haired girl would net her some common sense. She decided against it, beating on kids was wrong. Teammate will be Inyazuka Kiba, Hinata Hyuga and Aburame Shino. Haruka announced. Shino gave no visible indicator of his emotions, but Naruto knew he was at least relieved to be paired up with Hinata, but their team wouldn't be complete. Akamaru barked and Kiba patted his head while cheering. Hinata shyly looked up at Naruto, who smiled at her. Team 9 still active, and Team 10 will be Akamichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru and Yamanaka Ino. Ino sighed in relief, at least she was with two of her childhood friends. Shikamaru muttered about how troublesome it was going to be, and Choji ate some potato chips. We will take a short break and when you return your Jounin instructors will return to pick you up. Haruka said. Once again congratulations. He finishes with a smile. Shino, Naruto and Hinata sat under the tree with Naruto's swing. Shino and Naruto sat on the grassy floor while Hinata took the swing. They ate the bento boxes they had packed for the day. You changed your outfit? Shino said as he ate. Naruto nodded. Gone was the orange monstrosity the Hokage had gifted him. It was replaced with a black muscle shirt, black standard, but durable shinobi pants, and a black and yellow kimono-style jacket. His shoes were not ninja sandals like the average shinobi, but lightweight boots that stopped at his knees. Hinata had decided not to change her outfit, and the only change Shino had made to his own outfit was the removal of the hood. His slightly afro-style hair never failed to get Naruto's attention with how poofy it was. The blonde had once remarked he could hide a nest of birds in it. Orange would get me killed on a mission, and I am not one to boast of my unparalleled stealth skills. I love Orange, but I think it's also time that I worked on my showing more of my strengths. Naruto explained. About time. Hinata said sassily. Sarutobi Hiruzen was nothing if not practical, and that practicality applied in everything he did. So leading the new Jounin of Team 7 Hada Kakashi to the house of future student Uzumaki Naruto was one of the most practical things he did. He needed to get Naruto closer to another adult, and this was the best idea he could come up with on the fly. After all, if you couldn't trust your Jounin instructor, then who could you trust? Naruto had started to grow distant from him ever since he was 7. The blonde Jinchuriki had disappeared for a while, only resurfacing in time for the Ninja Academy to begin. From then their relationship waned. Naruto began referring to him as Hokage-sama instead of Jai like he used to. From then on it only grew worse. The paperwork he had tripled. There were suddenly matters only he could attend to. He suspected it was a ploy of the council to keep him from the demon brat as they dubbed him. The Jounin and the Hokage arrived at Naruto apartment complex. It's looking better than before. Did Naruto fix it up? The old man wondered. Kakashi noticed as they walked up the steps that there were small glows on the floor. He asked the Hokage about them. The old man told him not to worry, that there were seals all over the place placed there for Naruto's protection. I see. Was all Kakashi said. They entered the apartment that Naruto lived in, and Sarutobi was shocked to see it so clean. The Naruto he knew was messy and couldn't organize himself to save his life. He hoped it was not the Kyuubi influencing the boy he saw as his grandson. Hokage-sama, if I may. Kakashi started. When the Hokage gave him the go-ahead he continued. Naruto seems to be more mature than others in his year, much like Uchiha Sasuke. It is likely that it is from trauma, and we both know Naruto's had a lot of that. Kakashi said. Sarutobi suddenly felt his age. He felt as if all his tries to keep Naruto's innocence failed. I'm afraid so, Kakashi, I'm afraid so. He said. Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke sat waiting in their academy classroom for their assigned Jounin sensei. All the other students had left with their instructors, and here they were stuck with a notorious latecomer. Haruka had gone home after flashing them an apologetic smile. It was nearing evening and he had already graduated a class full of genin. There wouldn't be an assignment for him to grade until the next batch of academy students came through the academy doors. Where is he? Sakura asked angrily. Despite the fact that Sasuke was here with her, she still didn't want to wait hours for a guy who wouldn't show up. Sasuke was also annoyed. He glanced at the clock repeatedly, as if looking at it would summon their Jounin sensei. The only one who didn't seem to be bothered by this was Naruto, who already knew the identity of the person they were waiting for. The one and only notoriously late Jounin of Konoha had a Kakashi. They were probably going to wait longer if he was in a bad mood. He sighed and stood up. "Where do you think you're going?" Sasuke asked, raising an eyebrow. Naruto felt no need to reply him, but did so anyway. "To the academy roof, join me if you want." Naruto said. He knew with Sasuke's pride he would refuse the blonde's invitation. Sasuke gave him the Uchiha prize glare. "I'll pass, unlike you I want to be here when the Jounin gets here," he said. Naruto shrugged. "Suit yourself, you know where to find me," Naruto said. He shushed to the rooftop and sat down Indian style to enjoy the view. Sasuke was glowering at everything in sight, while Sakura sat meekly beside him. Where was the Jounin that was supposed to teach them? He growled. Not a moment after a head of gravity-defying silver hair poked his head through the classroom door. A chalk duster fell on the Jounin's head, and Sasuke was amazed because he didn't even see when the blonde set it up. He knew Sakura was too much of a teacher's pet to do it, and Naruto already had a reputation for harmless practical jokes. Sasuke felt jealousy bubble within his chest. Why didn't he see it? Didn't the Uchiha have one of the greatest all-seeing Dojutsu in the elemental nations? Even if he didn't have it yet, he should have at least noticed the lame prank. Kakashi simply regarded two of his students with a lazy look. "My first impression of you both is annoying," he said. "Meet me on the roof for introductions. I have a feeling your third teammate is already there," Kakashi said, and with that he shushed away. When Sasuke and Sakura got to the rooftop, they found Naruto and Kakashi in a staring competition. Naruto was holding his own against the Cyclops sensei they had. Sasuke scoffed at having such an unserious instructor, and Sakura was just annoyed with Naruto's presence. Sasuke was already paying more attention to him than her. "Ah, you're finally here," Kakashi said, breaking the tie of his and Naruto's staring competition. "We'll finish this later," he whispered to Naruto, who nodded. Once the two genin had sat down, Kakashi told them to introduce themselves, their likes and their dislikes, their hobbies as well as their hopes, dreams or goals for the future. "Why don't you go first, sensei?" Sakura said. "Show us what you mean," she said. "Alright, my name is Hada Kakashi, my likes are none of your business, my dislikes are a lot, my hobbies are well, I don't think I should tell you that, and as for future dreams or goals I have none." He said all we learned was his name. Sasuke and Sakura thought gloomily. "Alright, you next, girly," Kakashi said. "My name is Haruno Sakura, I like." At this she glanced at Sasuke with a blush on her cheeks. "I dislike blondes," she said while glaring at Naruto, who pretended she didn't exist. "My hobbies are." At this she glanced at Sasuke again with her blush growing darker. "And my dream for the future," she released a squeal. Kakashi sighed. Great, a fangirl, Rin was at least better than this, he thought. "Next is you, broody," he said. Sasuke glared. He straightened up and began. "My name is Uchiha Sasuke, I have very few likes and a lot of dislikes, my hobbies include training and other things, my dream is no, my goal is to kill a certain man," he said darkly. Naruto passed him a worried look while Sakura blushed and muttered how cool Sasuke was. Kakashi sighed once more. "An Avenger, lucky me," he thought sarcastically. "Alright, blondie, you're next," Kakashi said. Naruto thought about for a moment, then spoke. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto, I like a lot of things as well, like my mentors Suzume-chan and Kurama-kun. I dislike most things too, and I haven't figured out any dreams or goals." He gives Kakashi a challenging smiles. If the man wouldn't reveal anything, then he wouldn't either. Kakashi smiled under his mask. The kid sure grew up in an interesting way, but who is this Suzume and Kurama? I'll have to keep an eye out for them, Kakashi thought. "What do you mean survival test, didn't we do that in the academy?" Sakura asked. Kakashi smiled. He had just told them about the extra test which was meant to weed out the weak genin. Sakura didn't take it well. The academy exam was just to find out the potential of those who would actually become genin. This is the real test, Kakashi explained. Only 9 out of 27 graduates actually become ninja, he said. "What?" Sakura asked. It seemed Sasuke and Naruto already knew this. Naruto snickered. "What's so funny, baka?" Sakura asked, glaring. Why couldn't he take things seriously? He should have been dead last rather than average. Then again, I already consider him dead last, she thought. "If you're going to be like that, then I won't tell you, learn to be a little nicer first," Naruto retorted. "Whatever," she huffed. Naruto rolled his eyes and waved Sasuke over. The raven raised an eyebrow but leaned in. Naruto whispered something in his ear and his lips twitched in amusement. "What did he say, Sasuke-kun?" Sakura asked sweetly. Sasuke nodded, showing he wouldn't tell her anything. "Meet me at training ground 7 at 6 a.m. sharp. I suggest you don't eat breakfast, you'll throw up," Kakashi said before he shushed away. Naruto turned to Sasuke. He wanted to extend a hand of friendship and give Sasuke someone to lean on. Naruto may not have lost an entire clan, but he thought about what his life would be like if Suzumebachi or Kurama were taken away from him, and it hurt to think about it, so he could only imagine what Sasuke was going through in his loneliness. And Naruto was no stranger to loneliness, in fact they were poker buddies. Sasuke. He called as the other boy was about to flee, walk calmly away from Sakura's advances. What? The Uchiha asked, finally getting Sakura off him. Sometimes I train in training ground 12 and read some technique scrolls. I have a few I've read already and a few I don't have affinities for, like fire. You can have some of them if can catch me. Naruto offered. Sasuke looked like he was thinking it over. Sasuke doesn't need your help, Naruto baka, he can figure stuff out on his own. The pink-haired girl hissed. I think that is for Sasuke to answer, Haruno. Please let him answer unless you think him incapable of answering a simple question. Naruto said. That shut Sakura up. Sasuke kept silent. The invitation is still open, Sasuke, whenever you need it. Naruto said. He shushed away. Nah, Sasuke-kun, will you go out with me? Sakura asked. No. Sasuke replied before leaping off the roof. Sakura pouted and went home. Sasuke would be hers eventually. What made you want to extend a hand to that guy anyway? He reminds me of a kid back in Soul Society, Hyaranmaru's wielder Hitsugaya. I think. Suzumebachi said. I remember Sasuke used to be happier before. He would run out to meet his older brother Itachi, I think was his name, but after the massacre he didn't smile anymore, and I guess I want to see him smile again. Naruto said. He prepared for bed in the darkness of his room, while Suzumebachi flittered around casting a soft glow around him. He would work on a way to bring the Kyuubi into the world too, but that would be for another time. And so Uzumaki Naruto went to sleep content. The next day Naruto woke up bright and early for his official genin exam. He dressed and picked up Suzumebachi's sealed form. Today was the day he would show his skill and prove he could be a qualified ninja. Naruto ate his breakfast, disregarding the suggestion his teacher gave him, but what the man didn't know wouldn't hurt him. He also packed a light breakfast for his teammates who no doubt would adhere to the instruction. Naruto came up and saw Sasuke and Sakura were already there. He gave a wave and Sakura snarled at him. You're late. She barked. Naruto shook his head. This girl was seriously getting on his last nerve. I'll never understand how you got the rank of top Kunoichi, Haruno. Didn't you read up on our sensei? He asked. She kept silent and a blush of embarrassment crawled onto her face. Tell us about him. Sasuke said from under a tree. Hada Kakashi, former Anbu, prodigy son of the legendary White Fang Hada Tsukumo, he became Chunin by 6 and is well known for being chronically late. Naruto said. Sasuke considered the information while Sakura glared at him for showing her up in front of Sasuke. Whenever he says be here at a certain time, he's usually going to be a couple hours late. Naruto added. How do you know it wasn't just a fluke? Sakura asked, still doubtful of the information she received. The blonde's eyebrow twitched. It's on his file. He says patiently. He tossed them 2 bento boxes. What's this? Sasuke asked. He opened it and there was some onigiri, sushi and a few sticks of dango. Breakfast? He asked in disbelief. Naruto? Are you trying to get us in trouble? Sensei said don't eat breakfast and here you are throwing it at our feet. Sakura said. Naruto sighed, he felt his headache whenever he spoke to her. He didn't say don't eat, that was your assumption. He said I suggest you don't eat, meaning what we are going to be doing is going to be tasking and therefore burn energy. I won't have any of you two without the energy to participate in what is most likely a fight. Naruto said. Sasuke, who was impressed with Naruto's reasoning, began to eat. Sakura followed Sasuke's example. Once the meal was done, Sasuke approached Naruto, who was busy with a small and barely growing flower. What's up, Sasuke? Naruto asked, sealing the plant away in a scroll. He would transplant it later when the plant had grown to be healthy. Do you really train in training ground 12? Sasuke asked. Naruto smiled at him. Yes. The blonde replied. I'll see you there sometime. Sasuke said. Naruto nodded. Naruto mentally cheered. He had just gotten Sasuke to accept his help. Now if only Sakura could do the same and be less screechy about it. It took a few hours, but Kakashi finally arrived in a plume of smoke. He smiled at them, hoping they forgave his lateness. You're late. Sakura barked at him. Kakashi sheepishly rubbed the back of his head and comes up with what he thinks is a plausible excuse. Well, you see, a black cat crossed my path and I had to take the long way around. Kakashi said. Lame. Suzumebachi muttered. Naruto giggled. Kakashi straightened up, a serious look crossed his masked face. He retrieved 2 bells from a pouch he wore at his side. The bells glinted in the morning sun and jingled slightly with the wind. Your task is to catch one of these bells by noon. He said, setting a timer on one of the 3 logs in the training field. If one of you does not have a bell by noon, then you will be tied to a log and sent back to the academy, and if none of you get the bell then you will all fail. Kakashi said. Seriously? Sakura gasped. Sasuke and Naruto's lips tightened. But there are only 2 bells. Sakura said. Kakashi smiled cheerily. How observant of you, Sakura-chan. He praised sarcastically. Now, come at me with the intent to kill. Kakashi said. But sensei, we might hurt you. Sakura said, worried for her teacher. I don't think newly minted genin can put a scratch on a jounin Haruno. Naruto said. Sasuke and Sakura quickly hid in the bushes while Naruto was left alone in the clearing with Kakashi. You aren't going to fight me all by your lonesome now, are you, Naruto-kun? He asked. I just thought I'd try my luck. Naruto said. Well then, by all means try, Naruto-kun. Kakashi said. Naruto nodded and made the hand seals for Kage Bunshin. 2 clones appeared and he gave them their instructions. The clones flew into the bushes to carry out their tasks. It was then that Kakashi noticed Naruto's wakizashi. It was strapped to his hip. Did Naruto always have a sword? Kakashi asked himself. Sasuke watched Naruto as he was left alone in the clearing. Does he really think he can take a jounin out on his own? Sasuke thought. Sakura had the same thing running through her mind. She snorted. What an idiot. She added in her mind. Okay, get ready. Here I go. Naruto said cheerfully. He took a stance and vanished. Kakashi felt an attack incoming from behind him. He blocked and was surprised to find it was Naruto. Such speed. The older man thought. Naruto had a serious look on his face as he punched. He missed as Kakashi jumped back. Naruto also jumped back, but as soon as his feet touched the ground he vanished again. Kakashi went on guard. His senses screamed above you. He looked up just in time to see Naruto deliver an axe kick to his head, creating a small crater in the ground, but when the dust cleared, there were only some broken logs. Naruto looked around for Kakashi. Nah, Kakashi-sensei, where'd you go? He called out. Meanwhile, Kakashi hid in a tree trying to catch his breath. He didn't expect his new genin to give him a challenge, but if this kept up, he might have to bust out some of his Anbu level moves to beat the kid, and boy, would that be embarrassing. Sasuke watched in shock as Naruto chased Kakashi into hiding. Where did he learn to move like that? Was he really hiding his skills at the academy, and why? The last Uchiha thought. No way Naruto Baka is that strong. Sakura thought he's supposed to be average and even people don't think he's that high. She thought in awe. Naruto sensed out Kakashi's chakra signature and smirked. Kakashi was trying to think up a plan when he heard the sound of a howling wind and crackling lightning. He was forced out of the tree by Naruto and noticed with shock as Naruto's attack collided with the tree. It splintered where he was only moments before. Naruto continued to attack Kakashi, who was dodging rather well despite Naruto jounin level speed. Hey Sasuke. The Naruto clone called. Sasuke turned to face him, wondering why the clone felt solid. I'm a shadow clone, Sasuke, remember Iruka-sensei's clone from the exam? He asked. Sasuke nodded. Yeah, like that, but I'm not made with mud. The clone explained. What are you doing here? Sasuke asked it, as much as it pained him to admit, approximately 3 Naruto clones could take Kakashi down and take the bells, but here he was talking to him. I need your help, Sasuke, I can't beat Kakashi without my team. The blonde clone said with a smile. Sasuke nodded. What do you need me to do? The Naruto clone with Sakura was having less luck. The girl refused to accept that he was strong or smart enough to come up with a plan, despite what she just saw. Sakura, I can't do this without my team. Why are you being so stubborn? He asked. She glared at him, her green eyes narrowed. You just want to hog the spotlight and I'm not going to go along with it. Sakura said. But Sasuke is helping me. The clone said. She snorted. Sasuke-kun's strong enough to do it on his own, he wouldn't need help from an idiot like you. Sakura said. The Naruto clone sighed and dispelled itself. One teammate was better than none after all. The real Naruto released his strange technique and Kakashi watched as he flew into the bushes. Those techniques must have taken a lot out of him. Kakashi assumed. So what's the plan, Naruto? Sasuke asked. Naruto smirked. Don't worry your pretty little head about it, I've got it all figured out. The blonde replied. Heian. Kakaku no jutsu. Kakashi heard, an impressive fireball was hurled at him. Kakashi flew back and performed hand seals of his own to combat the fireball. Suiten. Sujin Heki. He said, shooting water from his mouth to form a weak wall. The fireball collided with it and evaporated the wall. As soon as the mist cleared, Kakashi was on his toes again. Naruto came at him with his strange sparking technique. Kakashi dodged, but Naruto twisted around and slammed his boot-covered feet into Kakashi's face. The older man tasted blood in his mouth and was that teeth he just swallowed. Naruto jumped back before rushing at him again. Sasuke appeared from the other side charging at him. Kakashi did a substitution with Sasuke and the raven-haired boy slammed into Naruto instead. While the two rubbed their head trying to get themselves together, Kakashi went in search of their third teammate. Did it work? Sasuke asked. Naruto held up 2 bell, they jingled merrily in the slight breeze. Hi. The blonde replied with a smile. The two of them heard a girlish scream. Looks like he's done with Haruno. Naruto muttered. Sasuke snorted, wonder how such a pathetic girl made it to the rank of top kunoichi. Come on Sasuke, we need to get there. But as soon as Naruto said that, the bell rang. Time's up. Kakashi said with an eye smile, since none of you got the bells, I will give you another chance to rest up and tie Sakura to the log. Kakashi said. The girl looked like she wanted to cry. Sasuke rolled his eyes and wondered how he would have passed if not for Naruto. Just a minute. Naruto said. He jiggled the two bells in his hand and tossed one to Sasuke, who caught it with pride, and the other to Sakura, who looked surprised. But I didn't do anything. She said. Sasuke was also giving Naruto a questioning look. What are you doing? And a pleading look. Stay, I want a competent teammate. Naruto waved them off. Another year at the academy doesn't sound too bad. Means I get to hang out more with Kurama-kun and Suzume-chan. Naruto said. He turned to Sasuke. The Sasuke, get stronger alright, my offer to join in on training still stands. He said. The raven-haired boy nodded, still displeased that Naruto had given his rightfully earned belt to Sakura of all people. Kakashi, who was still surprised, could only stand still as Naruto talked. How had he gotten the bells? He shook off his confusion. You three pass. He said seriously. The three genin gaped at him. What? The genin asked. He chuckled. Yes, you passed. The true meaning of the test was teamwork. Because the ninja world is full of harsh decisions, and there will be times where you have to make tough choices. But remember though, those who break the rules are trash, those who abandon their comrades are lower than trash. Protect your comrades with your life, they're your family. Kakashi said. He eyed them. Naruto turned to Sasuke and Sakura with a smile on his face. Sasuke smirked and Sakura said nothing. Hey Naruto, I need to ask you something. Kakashi said. Yeah? How did you get the bells? The Jounin asked, still perplexed that a genin had managed to outsmart him. Easy. I hid a clone under the cover of the steam, you wouldn't have noticed because I kicked you in the face, but my clone picked the bells off you when we were fighting. Naruto said as if it was the simplest thing in the world, making Kakashi feel twice as foolish. The Sandaime sat before the Jounin he had appointed to lead a group of genin. He wanted to know the results of the newly graduated class from the academy. But among all the teams, there was one he wanted to know of in particular. Report. He orders. Team 1 fail. Team 2 fail. Other Jounin came forward to give their reports, and it was not looking good. It was as if the standard of the academy had dropped. Finally Kakashi came forward. The Sandaime already expected him to fail the team because he had never ever passed a team during his tenure as a Jounin. Team 7 pass. He said. Everyone gawked. If the Sandaime was sipping something that moment he would have choked. They passed? He asked. Kakashi nodded. The resident Jounin shook themselves out of their stupor and began their reports. Team 8 pass. Yuhi Kurenai said. Team 10 pass. Sarutobi Asuma said. If that is all there is to report, you are all free to go. Kakashi, stay, I need to talk to you. The Sandaime said. The Jounin bowed and left, leaving only Kakashi in the Hokage's office. So they passed? He asked. Kakashi nodded. Uzumaki is exceptionally fast and talented, Sasuke is truly gifted but is stagnating, his Avenger mentality is going to be hard to suppress, but I'm sure given enough time with Naruto, he will start to become saner. Kakashi said. He sighed. Sakura, much like her fellow girls in the academy except the Hyuga heiress, has a crush on Sasuke, she will only work with him, while seeing Naruto is not worth her time, I hope training will help her grow out of it. Kakashi said, concluding his report. You've got yourself quite a team, Kakashi, I only hope you can bring out the best in them. Hiruzen said. I'll do my best with those cute little genin. Kakashi said. Chapter 2. So Naruto-kun, how has everything been? The Hokage asked. Naruto had just finished his ninja registration, and the Hokage was inspecting it. Naruto looked serious in the picture. Sarutobi was expecting something flamboyant and loud, but the picture to him was truly boring, a testament to Naruto's change. Everything is fine, Hokage-sama, I have been going on missions with my team and so far there has been no problems. Naruto replied. The Hokage nodded. He gazed at Naruto's face, wondering where the carefree child he used to see went. Naruto-kun, you know you can tell me anything, you know I see you as my own grandson. The Sandaime said seriously. I know, Hokage-sama. Naruto replied, averting his gaze to the window. The Sandaime sighed and gave him back the papers. Just as Naruto was about to leave and young boy burst through the door. Get ready to surrender that seat to me, old man. The odd little boy declared. He wore a strange headwear that let a tuft of hair come out from the top and a long scarf. As soon as the boy was about to launch his attack, he tripped on his own scarf. He fell face flat and it took everything in Naruto not to laugh at the sight. Suzumebachi and Kurama did otherwise. Naruto could feel a headache coming with bouts of laughter echoing through his mind. The boy got up with a start and looked towards Naruto. You tripped me, but how could you do that when you were way over there? It must have been some sort of ninja skill. He said. Naruto rose an eyebrow. I didn't do anything, kid, you tripped yourself with that ridiculously long scarf you were wearing, next time plan your attacks more carefully. Naruto said. He bowed to the Hokage before taking his leave. He passed Ibisu who was rushing in after the honorable grandson. "Hey grandpa, who was that?" Konohamaru asked his grandfather. "That was Uzumaki Naruto, a strong boy who is going to be something great someday," the Hokage replied. Konohamaru watched the boy go, wondering what was so great about him. "He looks kind of girly, are you sure he's strong?" the boy asked. The Sandame rubbed the bridge of his nose. "Why don't you go and find out, Konohamaru-kun?" the Sandame said. Naruto wondered how long he should humor the kid. The child had been following him for a while, and frankly it was getting annoying. "Do you mind not following me everywhere I go? It was funny the first few shops, but now it's just annoying," Naruto said. Konohamaru pulled down the cloth he was using to blend in with the fence. "You must be truly incredible to be able to see through my technique," the boy said. "An idiot would have been able to see through that, kid," Naruto said. "My name's not Kid. It's Konohamaru," the boy said. "Well then, good for you, you're named after the village," Naruto said before disappearing and appearing on the roof. "Stop following me, okay?" he said before riding the ninja traffic. Konohamaru watched in awe as he jumped away. "He's so cool," the boy said with stars in his eyes. "I'm gonna find him and get him to teach me that," Konohamaru said. But as soon as he was about to move, he was caught by his tutor. "Stay away from that punk honorable grandson, he's nothing but trouble," Ibisu said. Konohamaru threw a smoke bomb he got from who knows where. As soon as the smoke cleared, Ibisu had lost track of his student again. Naruto was practicing his Kenjutsu style in training ground 12 when he heard a rustling in the forest. He jumped into the tree to hide and find out who the intruder was. Konohamaru stepped out of the bushes looking confused. "Huh? I just saw him here a minute ago," the boy said to himself. Naruto jumped out of the tree, scaring the crap out of the little boy. "Don't do that, I'm too young to have a heart attack," Konohamaru said. "I'll give you points for persistence, now what do you need?" "It must be pretty important for you to tell me like a fangirl," Naruto said. Konohamaru shuddered at the thought of a fangirl. "Scary. I want you to teach me something cool and in return I'll make you my boss," Konohamaru said. Naruto looked to be considering it. "And what does being your boss entail?" the blonde asked. "Well, we get to hang out and do cool stuff together and play ninja and stuff," Konohamaru said. Naruto gave him a tender smile, remembering when he would follow his Anbu guards around just to have company. "Sounds like a good deal to me," Naruto said. "Alright, I'll teach you something," Naruto said. Konohamaru cheered. "Looks like someone has picked up a stray," Kurama said, chuckling. "Quite you," Naruto replied in his mind. "Alright, let's start with henge," Naruto said. After a few hours of training, Konohamaru mastered the henge technique. He was now sitting down on a log near Naruto's hives. "Naruto and Aichin?" Konohamaru asked. Naruto turned to him silently, asking what? "What are you doing to those bees?" he asked. "I'm teaching them how to use chakra," Naruto said. Just then a bee the size of a kunai flew into Naruto, butting its head against the blonde. "They grew so fast," he muttered, stroking the creature's head. Konohamaru was thoroughly shocked. "You mean like the Aburam clan?" he asked. Naruto nodded and the giant bee flew away. My bees feed on chakra and apparently as a result they grow bigger, but they have also started to develop chakra coils from extensive breeding, Naruto explained. He and Shino worked on it together. Naruto wanted to have another insect-related clan to Konoha, even if it was only the techniques. He wanted another bee-related clan apart from the Kamizuru clan of Iwagakure. "That's cool, Naruto and Aichin, do you think I can help too?" Konohamaru asked. Naruto smiled at him. "Of course," the blonde replied. A few hours later we find Naruto leading a honey-covered Konohamaru out of the forest. "That was fun, let's do it again someday," the energetic boy said. "Naruto, I don't think all that honey was a good idea," Suzumebachi said. "Now you tell me," Naruto muttered. "We will Konoha-kun, but first let's get you cleaned up," he said. A man with dark sunglasses and a blue outfit flew out of nowhere. "Aha! I knew you kidnapped the honorable grandson," Ibisu said. "His name is Konohamaru," Naruto said, patiently. "What?" Ibisu asked. He knew his charge's name, so why was he getting told that by the fox brat? "His name is Konohamaru, not honorable grandson or any other title you can come up with. He's a young boy who wants to learn how to be a good ninja and not one who wants to live in his grandfather's shadow. He is who he is, and if you can't see that then you shouldn't have any right to call yourself his teacher," Naruto said. Konohamaru was shocked once more by his boss. "That's right, Ibisu, call me by my name and only by my name," he said. Naruto patted his honey-covered hair. If he didn't get cleaned up, ants might start to gather. Ibisu nodded. "Let's get you cleaned, Konohamaru," he said. Naruto nodded in approval and shooed the boy towards his tutor. "Don't worry, I won't forget about you," Naruto said. Konohamaru smiled brightly at him before running off with his teacher. An Anbu landed by Naruto's side telling him that the Hokage wanted to see him. Naruto nodded and raced toward the Hokage tower. "What's wrong, Hokage-sama?" Naruto asked as he jumped into the office. The Sandaime told him to sit and he did. We just saw each other a few hours ago, Naruto-kun, but there was something I forgot to give you due to certain disturbances. The Hokage said. What? Naruto asked, keeping his tone neutral. It must be pretty important then. I have a feeling something life-changing is about to happen. Suzumebachi said. I have a feeling this mindscape is going to be a whole lot crowded. Kurama said. Naruto shifted in his seat, nervously. What do you want to give me, Hokage-sama? The blonde asked. The Sandaime pulled open a special drawer where he kept his Icha Paradise novels and other stuff he didn't want the council to get their hands on. He pulled out a scroll with a Uzumaki swirl on it. This scroll was said to belong to one of your ancestors from a long time ago, before the time of ninja even. Your mother Uzumaki Kushina brought it with her to Konoha and entrusted it to me the day she died. The Sandaime said. He stared into Naruto's blue eyes, which was so much like his father's. I was going to wait till you were a Chunin to give it to you, but this old man is getting soft. The Sandaime chuckled. He handed the scroll to Naruto, who treated it like glass. A strange power lives there, Naruto. I hope you use it well. The Sandaime said. Naruto leapt over the table and hugged the old man before bursting into tears. He had a mom after all, a mom that loved him and cared enough about him to leave him something. Thank you, Hokage-sama. He said. The old man just smiled. Naruto was currently in his apartment staring at the scroll in his hands. Suzumebachi rested on his shit as he stared. Eventually she got bored. Open it, Naruto-kun. Suzumebachi said. Naruto nodded. He unrolled the scroll. A letter fell out addressed to him. It was a letter from his mother. Dear Naruto-kun, my son. I know that your father and I are not here with you, but I hope you have grown up well. I hope you have grown up strong and loved. I Uzumaki Kushina, former Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, also known as Kurama-kun, am your mother. I didn't mean to die on you, Naruto-kun. A man attacked while I was giving birth to you. Well, the seal was weakening. He used you as leverage and released Kyuubi so he could control it and wreak havoc. I was so weak. I am writing this with the last of my life. I leave you this gift in hopes that it will protect you. Naruto-ku. Naruto was in tears. His mom didn't even get to finish before she died. He noticed there was a blood seal in the center of the scroll. He bit his thumb hard and swiped it over the seal. There was a bright flash, and 2 flower-style hairpins were sitting on his table, along with another letter, this time addressed to general descendants. Naruto picked up the hairpins and clipped them to his bangs. He didn't care if they made him look feminine. It was from his clan, his mom. He would wear them proudly. He picked up the letter and read. Hello there, great 1,000 times over great-grandchild. My name is Orihime Inoue, and the hairpins you have probably clipped to your hair is my Zanpakuto manifestation. This power is called the Shunrika, and it has the ability to reject events from happening. In summary, you hold the power to reverse certain events in your hand. I wish you luck and strength. Use this power to protect those closest to you and never give up, even when it seems too tough. Orihime Inoue. P.S. Tsubaki can be really grumpy. Naruto smiled at the letter. His ancestor seemed like a very sweet person, someone who was determined to protect her friends and loved ones, even when the situation seemed hopeless. Along the back of the letter were some instruction and some techniques. I leave the rest to you. The bottom of the instruction said. Alright then, let's call them out. Naruto said to Suzumebachi, who nodded. Aim, Bagan, Hinajiku, Lily, Shuno, Tsubaki. He said. The hairpins started to glow, and the 6 fairy-like creatures revealed themselves. They flew all over the place with the masked one trying to rein them in. Hey! Suzumebachi yelled, flying up and smacking each one of them on the head. You're causing a commotion. She exclaimed. Sorry. The pink-haired fairy said. Suzumebachi nodded, satisfied. She flew back to Naruto. Hi! He said unsurely. The 6 individuals circled him, whispering. You're Orihime's descendant? The masked one asked. Yes, I am. She and my mother entrusted your power to me. I hope we can work well together. Naruto replied. The masked one nodded. Very well, I am Tsubaki. The masked one introduced. I am called Aim. The pink-wearing fairy introduced. She had a hood that covered her whole body and looked shy. I am Bagan. The burly-looking fairy said. Hinajiku. The eye-patch-wearing fairy introduced. I am Shuno. The blonde fairy with a ponytail introduced. It was hard for Naruto to tell if he was a boy or a girl. I am male. Shuno said with a smile. He sensed Naruto's confusion. That clears things up. Suzumebachi said. And finally, I am Lily. The pink-haired, yellow-goggles-wearing fairy said. It's nice to meet you all. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. This cute girl here is Suzumebachi, and if you entered my mindscape you'd meet Kurama. I'm working on how to bring him into the physical world, but that's going to take a while. Naruto said, introducing himself. Good to meet you, Naruto-kun. Am said, flying to the level of his nose. I see a lot of Orihime in you. She said. Lily flew over too. Now that you mention it, I do see a lot of her in him. She said. Soon the other fairies came crowding him. But Suzumebachi scared them all away by waving her stinger threateningly. I would like you to show me a demonstration of your powers if you don't mind me asking. It's the power to reject events, right? Naruto said. The six shared a look. Of course we don't mind. Naruto-kun Orihime entrusted us to her descendants, which means you, and that means you are totally up to it. And rejecting events is not all we can do. Lily said. Naruto smiled. Thank you, come on, let's get to the training grounds. I don't want my house wrecked. Naruto said. He jumped out of the window, surprising the fairies. Come on, let's go. He said. You'll get used to the ninja of the village once you see them in action. Suzumebachi told them as they flew. You're a ninja? Bagan asked Naruto. Naruto nodded. He avoided an incoming jounin by performing a shushin. Yeah, I'm pretty strong too, but that's thanks to Suzume-chan and Kurama-kun. Naruto replied. He jumped on a couple branches before landing in training ground 12, his favorite training ground. There are many training grounds here in Konohagakure no Sado because a majority of the population from what I've seen are ninja. There are also many clans with different skills and such. Clan children are expected to become ninja, though civilian-born children can become ninja too. But they would have to catch up to the clan-raised children because of the slight advantage they have over them, Naruto said. So that means you'd go on a lot of dangerous missions. AM said. Naruto nodded. Gosh, you'd need a super healing team. Lily said. Indeed. Naruto said, sweat dropping. Though thanks to Kurama-kun, I regenerate. As he said that, AM and Shuno's faces fell. He sweat dropped again. But that doesn't mean my friends don't need it. He added quickly. Time skip, so all I have to say is the technique name, then your powers activate. Naruto asked. They nodded. It's just like using Suzume's Shikai. Kurama said. Naruto nodded and faced a tree. Koten's Anshin. He said. Tsubaki flew forward. He was enveloped in a bright light, then he sliced clean through the tree, which parted. That is amazing, Tsubaki. Naruto said in awe. He looked at the tree. That hand parted and fell on either side of the training ground. Naruto put his hand forward. Soten Kissen. He said. AM and Shuno flew forward, creating shield over the fallen tree. Right before Naruto's eyes the tree fixed itself together and it was like nothing happened. Whoa. Naruto gawked. Let's try. Santen Kessen. Bagan, Lily and Hinajiku created a triangle-shaped shield over him. Okay, Suzume-chan, attack us. Naruto said. Suzume put her stinger forward and charged. Naruto didn't waver. He believed in the shield. His Zanpakuto hit, but there wasn't even a dent in the shield. That's pretty sturdy. The horned Zanpakuto commented. Indeed, it can resist a majority of things. Tsubaki said. Naruto created one shadow clone. How are there two of you? Bagan asked, inspecting the clone. Naruto laughed. It's a special technique. I need my clone to attack us so we can test the final ability, and I can do this because of an energy called chakra, which is a lot like Ryatsu. Naruto said. Okay then, Shiten caution. He said. Once again a triangle-shaped shield was raised over him, but this time with Tsubaki positioned in the middle. Alright, attack. Naruto said. The clone rushed forward with his fist coated in lightning. He rammed the fist into the shield. Tsubaki shot forward, cutting through the clone and dispelling it. You guys are pretty strong. I already have so many ideas we can use in close combat situations, especially with Tsubaki's abilities. We would have to practice though, the ninja world is filled with surprises. We have to cover every possible opening. Naruto said. Spoken like a true warrior. Tsubaki said, liking the boy already. Come on, I'm sure you guys need to rest. Naruto said. The fairies returned to their sealed form, as did Suzumebachi, and Naruto stepped out of the training ground running into Shino. Hey Shino-kun, I just finished training, what brings you here? Naruto asked. Training duh. His mind supplied. I actually came to speak to you. Shino said. Really, Shino-kun? Naruto asked. Yes, we need to catch up. The Aburam said. Naruto nodded. Indeed we do. I like your hair clips, by the way. Shino added. Naruto felt his face heat up. Thank you, they were a gift. He said, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. Come on, I'll take you to the ramen stand. Shino said. Naruto didn't need any more prompting after that. So how's Hinata-chan? Naruto asked. They were seated at a table in the Ichiraku ramen stand, a small but homely restaurant and the home of Naruto's favorite food. Ramen. Though thanks to Suzumebachi and the Henjutsu, Naruto was able to eat and love other foods as well and cook. She's fine, we are missing you a lot, it's just not the same without you. Shino said. Naruto dropped his chopsticks and stared at Shino with a tiny heartwarming smile. I miss you guys so much too. Sasuke's alright and Haruno is annoying, but even though I've come to care for them, they can't replace you and Hinata-chan. Naruto said, staring into Shino's sunglasses-covered eyes. Once they noticed how close they were, they both turned away blushing. Thanks for the meal, Shino-kun. Naruto said, hugging the taller boy. Shino awkwardly wrapped his arms around Naruto. Bye Shino-kun. He said. Goodbye Naruto-kun, have a nice evening. He said. I will. Naruto said, taking to the rooftops. Shino sighed, wondering why it pained him slightly that Naruto left. Naruto was also thinking the same thing. A few days later, Fox in position over. Naruto said into the radio. Avenger in position over. Sasuke said. Inky in position over. Sasuke-kun, I'm not so sure about these nicknames. Sakura said. Well, tough. The raven-haired boy replied. I've identified the target requesting permission to proceed over. Naruto said. Permission to proceed granted, take him down Naruto. Kakashi said. Faster than the normal eye could see Naruto in a burst of speed, grabbed the demon cat Tora by the scruff of his neck. I'm sorry kitty but I cannot have attachments to the mission. Naruto said as the cat gave him soulful eyes. They had returned back to the Hokage's office where Tora was being squeezed to life by Madame Shimiji, the daimyo's wife. Tora's mistress. I'm so sorry. Naruto mouthed to the cat. Even Suzumebachi and Kurama were wondering whether to put the cat out of its misery on the next retrieval mission. May we have another mission, Hokage-sama? Kakashi asked. The Sandaime looked through the papers in his desk. Well, there's babysitting one of the elder's children, watering the farming section of Konoha's garden. Tora, come back. Shimiji yelled as Tora escaped once more. And then there's that. The Hokage said, jerking his thumb in the general direction of the cat. No way. Surprisingly, it was Sasuke and not Naruto who objected. Naruto turned to look at his raven-haired teammate. I am so sick of babysitting, picking garbage, weeding and other crappy jobs that civilians are just too lazy to do. Please give us a better mission before I lose my mind. I need to see how far my skills have gone. Sasuke ranted. By the time he was done, all the Hokage did was stare blankly. Hiruka gave Sasuke a lecture about respecting their superiors, as well as the missions a genin is expected to take. Naruto stepped forward. He bowed. Hokage-sama, I understand that we are new genin, but we are one of Konoha's capable team. We are not asking for an A-rank mission or a B-rank mission, but a simple C-rank mission that might help us gather the experience we need as ninja, as well as expose us to what we may need to do in the future. An escort mission perhaps, at worst there would only be a few bandits, and if anything goes wrong we have a former Anbu, Jounin with us. So please let us try. Naruto pleaded. At the end of his speech everyone was staring at him, and for once the Anbu in the office were glad for their perfect control, because they would have fallen off the walls. Who knew Naruto could be so diplomatic? I see no reason not to allow them on this mission. Hiruka said. Naruto smiled, not as bright as when he was a kid, but still heart-melting. Just another testament of how much Naruto has changed. Sarutobi thought sadly. Alright, a C-rank mission it is. The Hokage said. Sasuke released the breath he was holding and passed Naruto a thankful look. Sakura cheered at not having to do menial labor. Naruto was just content. You can come in now. The Hokage said. A sliding door opened, and the smell of alcohol hit Naruto's nose, his eyes watered. These guys are supposed to protect me. They're nothing but a bunch of brats, especially that short blonde one in the middle. The man said. Everyone expected Naruto to explode, but they were disappointed. I'm sorry if we are not what you were expecting, but we are ninja, I assure you. Naruto said. Well, so long as you can protect me. He said. We will to the best of our abilities. Naruto said. Anyway, I'm the super bridge builder Tazuna of Wave Country and I expect you guys to guard me until I finish the bridge. The man said. The members of Team 7 nodded. I should go ahead and pack then. Naruto said. He took off by jumping out of the window. The Sandaime shot Kakashi an accusing glare. I know you taught him to disregard doors. The old man said. The Jounin simply shushed away. After creating clones made to last for weeks courtesy of durability seals, Naruto packed his bags and listened to the inhabitants of his house and mind talk. Finally a real mission. Tsubaki sighed. I know right, you can only catch that cat so many times before it gets boring. Suzumebachi said. Naruto sealed all his essentials into a pocket-sized scroll. He then picked another scroll to store food, medicine and the like. He relayed the instructions to his clones, but he knew he didn't need to tell them because they were his clones, all personalities they might eventually develop would all be his anyway. The fairies returned to their hair clip and Suzumebachi returned to the mindscape. The team met at the gate along with their client. The journey to Wave Country had been uneventful so far. Naruto, what's with the hair clips? Sakura asked. They were a gift Haruno, nothing more to be said about it. Naruto replied. They look nice Naruto. Sasuke said. Naruto's cheeks turned pink. Thank you Sasuke. Naruto replied. Sakura stared at Naruto angrily. Sasuke had never once complimented her whenever she put on her best, and there he was complimenting Naruto, who was a guy. I don't think they look that great. She muttered under her breath. They passed a puddle that was emanating faint chakra. Naruto passed a look to Kakashi, wondering if he noticed it too. The Jounin gave his a subtle nod. They passed a puddle, but as soon as they were a few feet away, Kakashi was wrapped in chains and pulled apart. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura screamed. One down. Naruto heard someone say. He turned around to see two men with masks over their faces. They had clawed gauntlets connected to a long chain which in turn was connecting the two of them. They flew towards Naruto and swung the chain attempting to kill him. He dodged. Potenzanshin. Naruto said. His hairpin glowed before Tsubaki was launched at one of the men. With lightning speed he cut through the chain like butter under a hot knife and separating the two Rouge ninja from each other. Naruto used his lighting-coated fist to punch the first guy, knocking him out and electrocuting him slightly. Naruto noticed Kakashi had appeared and helped Sasuke with the other one. Kakashi locked eyes with Naruto before the other turned away. Tsubaki returned to the hair clip. This more than a simple escort mission. Suzumebachi noted. Why would he lie? Naruto asked, racking his brain. You should know, by the state of his clothes, he's obviously poor, which means he could not afford an A rank or a B rank mission. Kurama said. You're right, Kurama-kun, Wave Country must be a great state of economic depression, and we are all they've got. Naruto concluded. Kakashi watched Naruto battle internally. He hoped it wasn't the Kyuubi influencing him, and what was that strange power? Kotenzanshin. What the hell was that? Kakashi-sensei, as you have probably concluded, this is not just a simple escort mission, those were Chunin-level ninja. Gozu and Maizu, the demon brothers. Why would they be after a simple bridge builder? Naruto said. Kakashi turned to Tazuna for an explanation. The builder launched into a tearful explanation of how a tyrant by the name of Gatu was running Wave Country down with his illegal business and taking over their harbor, about how he managed to scrounge up enough money from the village to request for this mission. Kakashi-sensei, can we? Naruto asked, turning his pleading eyes to his teacher. Are you stupid, Naruto? We can't go on this mission, it's too dangerous. Sakura snapped at him. I say we take it. Sasuke said nonchalantly. He tried to keep Naruto's thankful look out of his mind. Damn the blonde for being so cute. Sasuke-kun. Sakura gasped. Alright, we'll take it. Sakura said. I can't afford to look weak in front of Sasuke-kun, especially since Naruto draws his attention by being strong. She thought. Are you sure, Sakura? Kakashi asked. Sasuke and Naruto could probably survive the mission, but Sakura, he hated to say it, but aside from book smarts, she had nothing going for her. Hi, sensei. I'm sure. She said, giving him a weak smile. Kakashi sighed. He hoped he was not making a mistake by agreeing to this. They left the brothers tied up by a tree, hopefully a hunter nin would find them. As they continued walking, Kakashi noticed that Naruto was constantly on guard. His hand had strayed to his hip where his sword was kept and was now holding it loosely. Soon they got to a river of sorts. It was misty and a lone boat was sitting on the edge. Tazuna ordered them to get aboard, which they did. The mist was so thick it could be grabbed. After a short ride, a half-finished but impressive-looking bridge came into view. Wow, Tazuna-san, that's quite a bridge. Naruto said to Tazuna. The man grinned cheekily. I told you I'm a super bridge builder. The man replied, looking proud. They soon docked near a village with a forest path. The man on the boat warned Tazuna to be careful and to take a less conspicuous path to his house. Tazuna thanked the man and left. As they followed the path, Naruto was getting incredibly anxious. There was a rustling in the bushes and Naruto flung a shuriken at the sound. It turned out to be a white rabbit which was scared out of its wits. It was just a rabbit, you idiot. Sakura huffed. Again, Haruno, how did you get top Kunoichi? What color is that rabbit? He asked her. She growled. It's white, I'm not blind. She replied, not seeing where he was getting at. It's the middle of summer, it's supposed to be brown, you dumb girl. Sasuke said. Sakura recoiled. How could she forget such an obvious thing? Naruto had most likely noticed the puddle too. Get down. Kakashi yelled. Sasuke pulled Sakura and Tazuna to the ground. Naruto jumped over the blade to avoid getting sliced in half. Impressive, not many have survived the first strike of my Kubikiri Haucho. A voice said. Team 7 and Tazuna turned to face the figure who had landed on the hilt of the Zambato. Yes, very impressive indeed. He said thoughtfully. Naruto got up and took a stance ready to strike if necessary. Everyone get back, he's way out of your league. Kakashi warned. The 3 genin and 1 civilian looked up at their opponent. Lamachi Zabuza, the demon of the hidden mist. Naruto said. Zabuza grinned through the bandages wrapped around the lower part of his face. I see you've heard of me. He said to Naruto. Kakashi turned to Naruto with a stern look. What do you want with the bridge builder? Kakashi asked. Zabuza shrugged. My boss wants him dead, so I want him dead. The missing nin said. Now hand him over so you and your genin can go free. Zabuza said. Tazuna trembled. I'm sorry, but we can't do that, it's our job to protect him. Naruto said. Zabuza frowned. I see. The missing nin said. Kakashi tensed up. Naruto, you, Sasuke and Sakura protect Tazuna. He ordered. But what about you? Naruto asked in concern. Kakashi was a really cool teacher, even though he came up with lame excuses and was late all the time, he was fun, and Naruto didn't want to lose him. I'll be fine, Naruto. He smiled. Naruto nodded and jumped back, pulling Sasuke and Sakura with him. He drew his sword ready to fight if the need came up. "Come on Naruto, we can take him," Suzumebachi said in his mind. She was confident in her wielder's skill. "I will, but only if Kakashi-sensei is floundering," Naruto said. Kakashi, seeing his students doing as he asked, faced Zabuza with a serious expression. "I guess I'll have to use that," he thought. He lifted his lopsided headband to reveal his Sharingan eye. "The famous copy nin Kakashi, said to have copied over 1,000 jutsu, I am honored to see your Sharingan eye," Zabuza said. He leapt off the tree, taking his sword with him. He landed in the middle of the clearing and began his technique. "Don't think your Dojutsu will save you from me. Kurigaku no Jutsu." Suddenly the mist became thicker, obscuring everyone's vision. Naruto frowned, he closed his eyes and tried to sense the enemy's chakra. 8 choices. A voice said, it seemed to be coming out of everywhere and nowhere at once. Liver, lungs, spine, clavicle vein, neck, brain, kidney, heart. Which one should I go after? The terrifying voice accompanied by killing intent. Naruto, who was used to deadly Kai from Kyuubi and the villagers, was not fazed, but Sasuke and Sakura, that was another story. Sasuke was already shaking and Sakura was no better, the girl looked like she would throw up. Naruto was about to reassure them when Kakashi beat him to it. "Don't worry, I don't let my comrades die," Kakashi said. Naruto smiled and Sasuke calmed a bit. Sakura was still on edge. "We'll see about that," Zabuza's voice said, appearing in the middle of Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura and Izuna. The 4 were surprised. Naruto took action before the man could strike and swiped his wakizashi at Zabuza. The blade went through the man's stomach and he dissolved into water. "Kakashi-sensei behind you," Naruto yelled. Kakashi didn't avoid the strike as Zabuza cut right through him with his cleaver. "No!" Sakura screamed. Naruto and Sasuke were also shocked. There was a splash of water and Kakashi was behind Zabuza, placing his kunai at the missing ninja's neck. "It's over," Kakashi said. Naruto sighed in relief. "I knew he could do it," Naruto said to his mind's occupants. "Yes you did," Kurama agreed. "I see, they don't call you the copy ninja for nothing. I should have known you would have had my water clone down." But another clone appeared behind Kakashi while the one in front disappeared. Kakashi dodged the attack from the clone and skidded back. Zabuza is going to trap him in the water, Naruto thought, alarmed. "Kakashi-sensei, don't go into the water," Naruto shouted. Kakashi nodded and began changing his course, but Zabuza had other plans. The missing nin charged with his gigantic sword and swung it full force at Kakashi. The Jounin had no other option but to jump into the lake. "Gotcha," Zabuza said, forming his jutsu. Suiton. Suro no Jutsu. A sphere of water trapped Kakashi. The man tried to free himself by lashing out, but the water was just too thick. "You should have listened to the blonde Kakashi," Zabuza said. He created another water clone and told him to finish the Genin and Izuna off. The clone charged. And Naruto was rapidly thinking up a plan. "Get out of here, run. The battle was lost the moment I got caught, so save yourselves," Kakashi shouted at them. Naruto glared. "He's floundering," Suzumebachi pointed out. "And what kind of comrades would we be if we did that, mister? Those who abandon their friends are lower than trash," Naruto shouted back. Kakashi was surprised Naruto had yelled at him. The clone struck. Naruto dodged. Hoten's Anshin. Tsubaki cut through the clone faster than the eye could see. Naruto smirked. "I've cut down your clone twice now, Zabuza, do you still think I'm just a weak little genin?" Naruto asked. Zabuza glared. Naruto drew his sword once more. He turned to his teammates and client. "Sasuke, how good are you with conducting an element through ninja wire?" Naruto asked. His mind whirled at lightning pace as he thought. "I'm pretty good," Sasuke said, wondering what the blonde was planning. "Baruno, you're pretty smart, right? Tell me how hot Sasuke's flames have to be before they cause a major explosion," Naruto asked. Sakura squeaked. Sasuke was looking at her expectantly. "Well," Kakashi looked on in worry at his students that refused to leave. Why did they choose now of all times to adhere to his personal motto? "Seems you have some brave students, Kakashi, though bravery is overrated in the ninja world," Zabuza said. He created another clone and relayed the same instructions to it as the other one. Naruto and Ko were already prepared. "Ready, Sasuke?" the blonde asked. Sasuke nodded. "Let's do this," Naruto said with a determined. Naruto shushed forward, splitting the clone in half with his trusty Zanpakuto. It dissolved. He disappeared and reappeared in front of Zabuza. He dodged a man's sword and jumped backwards with a smirk. "Now Sasuke," he called. "Heian. Gakakyu no Jutsu." Sasuke blew the fire, which went in a straight line. Zabuza noticed it was coming right at him, but he couldn't let go of the prison or else Kakashi would escape. The fire came closer and the man was already feeling the heat. He jumped back, releasing Kakashi, but the fire still followed. But that was all he managed to get out before the force of the fireball hit him head-on. He flew back with an explosion. Naruto sighed and Kakashi escaped from the water. "Brilliant plan," He told his students. Sasuke and Sakura were still by Tezuna's side guarding. Naruto was smirking in pride. I told him not to underestimate us. Naruto said. There was a sinister chuckling and the Konoha ninja went on guard once more. It seems I was wrong about your students Kakashi, especially that blonde. Zabuza said. Kakashi stood in front of Naruto flaring his Sharingan. Your fight is with me. The silver-haired nin said. Zabuza shrugged. And began rapidly performing hand seals. Kakashi mirrored him. Suiton. Suryuiden. They chorused, 2 water dragons rose up and cancelled each other out. Impressive. Zabuza said complimenting Kakashi, the Sharingan was taking its toll on the other Jounin, and it was getting noticeable. Kakashi panted. Zabuza went through the hand seal again and Kakashi copied. The water dragons clashed again. Under that cover Kakashi disappeared, he was about to deliver the fatal strike to Zabuza, but 2 senbon pierced his neck and struck him dead. Naruto gasped and went on guard, wondering if this unknown assailant wanted to take care of them also. A lithe hunter nin dropped from the trees, he landed in a crouch and bowed at the Konoha ninja. Naruto narrowed his eyes in suspicion, something wasn't right. The Mist Village thanks you for helping in the capture of this wanted man. The hunter said with another bow. He picked up the body and disappeared in a shushin. Kakashi stumbled on his feet and Naruto and Sasuke caught him before he could fall. I used too much chakra during the battle, I'm afraid you'd have to carry me. Kakashi said with a chuckle. Then he passed out. I'll carry him. Naruto said. Sasuke ned and left him to carry Kakashi on his back. Naruto huffed at the man on him. Tezuna, if you would please lead us to your home so that I may begin healing him. Naruto said. The man snapped out of his stupor of watching someone get killed before his eyes and also watching the remarkable fighting abilities the children before him possessed. Alright, on we go then. The man said. Chapter 3. Kakashi woke up to a yellow dome surrounding him, he blinked twice to clear his head and the supposed yellow dome. Only to find out it wasn't a hallucination. He shot up, thinking he had been captured. Calm down sensei. Naruto's voice said from outside the dome. Naruto? He called confused, was Naruto doing this and why hadn't he seen it before? Yes it's me, your body took some nasty damage during the fight and you're suffering from chakra exhaustion. Probably from overuse of your special eye. I've healed your body as best as I can, but unfortunately I can't recover your chakra. Naruto explained as the dome around Kakashi melted out of existence. Kakashi saw that he was in a small bedroom, he looked around confused. We're in Tezuna's house. After you passed out he took us here and I began working on healing you. Sasuke and Haruno are alright just a little shaken up. Naruto informed him. Kakashi rubbed his head trying to process the information coming toward him. What was that dome? And how exactly did Naruto heal him? But that wasn't important, what was important right now was that the enemy was not dead. Naruto-kun help me get to the living room, I'm afraid I have some bad news. Kakashi said. Naruto nods and helps him stand up. What do you mean Zabuza's not dead? The hunter nin killed him right? Sakura asks. Naruto winced at her voice. But he also had his suspicions about Zabuza's death. The hunter nin would have taken the head if he needed proof of death. Sasuke said. Naruto turned to him with a grim look. That's right Sasuke, why take the whole body when you could just take one part and dispose of the rest? Kakashi asked. Naruto's eyes widened. The senbon are weapons that can induce a death-like state because they can target certain parts of the human anatomy. Naruto muttered. Precisely Naruto-kun. It's most likely that Zabuza was indeed incapacitated and not killed like we thought. Kakashi said. There was a pause before Sakura hesitantly began to speak. What does that mean for us sensei? She asked timidly. Sasuke and Naruto also looked toward Kakashi, though Naruto's look was more of worry than Sasuke's glare of expectancy. Kakashi simply smiled. Though, that was more to reassure them. We're going to train of course, it's better to be prepared for what's coming. He said. Sakura's eye twitched. You saw how strong he was, what's a little training going to do against someone like that? The girl fumed. A little training goes a long way Haruno. Naruto said. She glared at him. Sasuke grunted in agreement. The living room door opened and a child stepped through. The woman was young with long dark hair and nice brown eyes. The boy glared at the ninja. Father, who are these people? The woman asked. They are the ninja I hired to help protect me while I finished the bridge. Tezuna said. Everyone please say hello to my dear daughter and grandson. He said. The woman bowed in thanks. Thank you for agreeing to do this. I know my father can be a handful. She said with a smile. Me being an energetic old man is not being a handful Tsunami. Tezuna said whining like a small child. You're all going to die. The young boy said. Sakura tensed then glared at him. That's quite a harsh thing to say kid. Naruto said with a small frown. The boy simply glared at him before running up the stairs and slamming the door. Sakura huffed about rude young men while Sasuke barely batted an eye. Tsunami sighed and went to put the groceries in the kitchen. Tazuna removed his glasses to rub at his eyes, suddenly feeling his age. I'll leave you shinobi to discuss whatever you need to, these old bones need a nap. The old man said as he began to walk toward his bedroom. Time skip. Team 7 stood in the forest not far from Tazuna's modest home. Kakashi was apparently feeling better because he decided to take them out to the forest and train them. He stood at the base of one of the many trees in the forest and said, I'm going to teach you how to climb a tree. But sensei, we already learned how to do that in the academy. Sakura said hesitantly. Kakashi rubbed the back of his head and gave an eye smile. Yes you did, but I'm going to show you how to climb with just your feet. He said. Sasuke and Sakura looked at him intently while Naruto just looked on. The Jounin began walking vertically up a tree with his hands behind his back. Soon as the Jounin was hanging upside down from a sturdy tree branch. He tossed 3 kunai in their direction, each projectile stopping at the foot of a student. Now I want all of you to do the same, use the kunai to mark the height you've reached. Kakashi said, jumping down from the tree. How are we supposed to do that? Sasuke asked. I guess I didn't tell you how to get up the tree, did I? The older man said, placing his hand on his chin in a thinking pose. Sakura shook her head. Well, it's quite simple. After he relayed the instructions, Sakura and Sasuke picked up their kunai and charged at the tree. Sasuke got only 2 steps up before he fell off. Hey, this is pretty easy. Sakura said. From the top of the tree she decided to climb. It appears Sakura-chan here has near perfect control. Kakashi comments, making the girl beam. Sasuke glares up at her and she recoils. Now Sasuke-kun, don't be like that, practice makes perfect after all. Kakashi says. Sasuke snorts and continues to try climbing. What about you, Naruto-kun, aren't you going to try? He had noticed the blonde was not participating in the exercise. I've already mastered tree walking, Kakashi-sensei. The fox-like boy replies. This had Kakashi intrigued. Really, who taught you? Kurama-kun, of course, when I was younger. Naruto replied, although Kakashi noticed there was a slight edge to his voice. He still didn't trust his sensei. Naruto-kun, there's something I wanted to speak to you about. Kakashi said, bringing out a familiar orange book from his pocket. Naruto's eye twitched as he heard Suzumebachi mutter about perverts in his mind. What is it, sensei? Naruto asked, although he had a feeling what it was about. Earlier I noticed you exhibited some strange abilities during the fight with the demon brothers and again with Zabuza. As he spoke he noticed tension increase in Naruto's shoulder. Did this Kurama teach you those things too? Naruto was at a loss for what to say. He hadn't really planned on telling people about his unique set of skills. He knew they would start asking once he revealed them, but he still wasn't ready. You don't have to tell me now if it makes you uncomfortable. Tension bled out of Naruto's shoulders. But as your sensei, I am expected to have some degree of knowledge of what you are able to do. And I also want you to be able to trust me. Kakashi said. Naruto gave him a single nod, showing he acknowledged the statement. Sasuke had taken a break from tree climbing and had noticed Kakashi and Naruto speaking quietly. He wondered what they were talking about and why Naruto looked so uncomfortable. He knew Naruto wasn't doing the exercise because he had already mastered it. Sasuke loathed to admit it, but the blonde was better than him when it came to being a ninja, and it irked him. But he was nothing if not a good student, and he decided he would learn what he could from the blonde and use it to defeat Itachi. He looked at Naruto once more. Plus it helped that the blonde wasn't bad to look at. Soon Kakashi and Sakura left to guard Tazuna at the bridge while asking Naruto to watch over his teammate. Naruto. Sasuke called. As he hit the ground hard again, he growled and the blonde came to lend him a hand. Why can't I get this? He muttered. Naruto looked toward the tree, seeing the kunai marks of Sasuke's progress. The raven-haired ninja hadn't gone that high up. Show me what you're doing and maybe we can figure out what's wrong. Naruto said helpfully. Sasuke swallowed his pride and channeled chakra to his feet. He began to climb and suddenly he falls off. Too little chakra and you won't stick. Naruto advised, try again if you notice you're falling out a little more chakra. Sasuke nods and places his foot on the tree. As soon as he notices gravity take hold, he pushes more chakra into his feet. The end result was hilarious. In pushing too much chakra to his feet, Sasuke launches off the tree like a projectile and lands on the ground and groans in pain. Maybe that was too much chakra. Naruto said, giving him a hand. The Uchiha gives him a look that seemed to scream, you don't say. Naruto snickers. Come on, one more time, try to find a balance. With a few more tries Sasuke was able to climb up about half the tree before falling. He punches the tree in frustration. It wasn't that easy for me either, maybe you should take a break. Naruto suggested. Suzumebachi huffed, this guy, take a break. Funny. I need to learn this, you can do it, even Sakura can do it. Why can't I? Sasuke raged. He picked up the kunai. Naruto eyes his teammate. He was already sporting multiple bruises and was covered in dirt. Sasuke, take a break. Naruto suggested a little more forcefully. The Uchiha ignored him in favor of going up his tree again. Naruto sighs before walking over. Sasuke, if you overdo it you're going to be sore tomorrow, and then how will you practice? Sasuke falls over again, and Naruto stops him by placing a hand on his shoulder before he can make his way up the tree again. Don't be stupid. The blonde says, go inside and rest before you do something that could endanger your ninja career. Sasuke's eyes widened at the statement. Naruto knew being a ninja was the most important thing to Sasuke right now, and he wouldn't do anything to jeopardize that. Sasuke pulls away from Naruto with a glare and storms back to Tazuna's house with his hands stuffed in his pockets. Well, that blew up in your face. Suzumebachi said. She appeared out of the mindscape and hovered by his side. He's so stubborn, he thinks he can do it all by himself. Naruto growled. His eyes softened as he watched the figure of Sasuke get smaller and smaller. I wish he understood that he's not alone anymore. The blonde muttered. He began stretching. Now that no one was around he would begin his own training. Sasuke trudges through the forest trying to get back to Tazuna's home. Anger clouded his thoughts and vision. He barely avoided walking into a tree. The cause of his anger? Naruto. The blonde treated him like a child. He could take care of himself, he'd been doing it since the murder of his parents. How dare he? Sasuke thought angrily. Who did Naruto think he was? His mother. The raven-haired boy stopped walking and turned to face the direction he came from. He could see a bright glow and the sounds of sparring. That's probably Naruto. He thought, deciding to go back. He sprints back into the clearing. Naruto stood facing 3 clones. He had a kunai in his hand and fierce expression on his face. Suzumebachi hovered beside him. Remember Naruto, this technique goes in 2 stages, strike first, then teleport. She instructed. Naruto nods. He vanishes and his clones quickly scramble to locate him. Soon the first clone is struck. It doesn't disappear, rather it jumps back to avoid being cut down. Show yourself, boss. The clone demands. The second and third clone also stand on edge, not knowing where the attack would come from. Naruto stayed in the bushes using the forest's natural camouflage to his advantage. He watched his clones for signs of weakness which he could exploit. An opportunity came in clone number 3 turning his back. Naruto flashes forward and strikes with the kunai. Oh, no fair. The clone whines as it puffs out of existence. Clone 1 and 2 grin. Got ya? One says. Naruto vanishes and appears behind clone number 2 to deliver a swift cut down its back. The clone growls and then vanishes. It was just one left. Naruto sidesteps a kunai before flying backwards to dodge some more shuriken. He runs and dives into the surrounding foliage for cover. Clone number 1 was onto him. Naruto had no time to relax as 2 projectiles lodged themselves in the bark of the tree where he was taking cover. Found you. The clone said, running forward to attack. Naruto jumps from behind the tree and launches a volley of shuriken. The clone moves to block, but as soon as he recovers Naruto is gone. He swerves around looking frantically for his target. But Naruto has already poised his blade to strike. And I was so close too. The clone mutters before dispersing in a puff of smoke. The technique still needs some refinement, but with enough practice it could be just as deadly as Nijeki Kisatsu. Naruto said. Sasuke fumed as he watched the blonde train. He was by far the most powerful on the team excluding their sensei. If he and Naruto ever sparred, he knew who would come out on top. Sasuke huffed and proceeded to walk back to the house. He would rest and then he would train. There was no way he could allow anyone to beat him. Sakura yawned as she rested on the bridge. It was really boring just watching the bridge builders work, but they couldn't afford to take any chances. With the high possibility of Zabuza and his hunter nin friend coming back. She shivered at the thought. She had faith that her sensei would protect them, but even at that Sasuke was pretty strong. She was sure he could take on the hunter nin impostor no problem. She blushes at his coolness. Then there was Naruto. Her lovesick smile dropped and she fumed. Who did he think he was, trying to be cooler than Sasuke? That blonde twerp thought he was above them just because he had a couple of friends that taught him a few moves. Sakura pauses her angry musings to watch the interaction between Tazuna and one of his bridge builders. The man wanted to stop working on the bridge because he feared for his life. Sakura winced. It's already noon, let's stop for today. She heard Tazuna say. You don't have to come tomorrow. He told the worker. Tazuna and Sakura walked through the streets of Wave Country. The more they walked, the more Sakura could see the state poverty the country was facing. All around her were dilapidated structures in states of disrepair, while rampant theft and begging filled the streets. She really felt sorry for these people. Following Tazuna, she steps into a shop, if it could be called that. There was barely anything to buy for dinner. Seeing Sakura's expression, Tazuna spoke. It didn't always used to be like this. He said as they walked back to his home. Wave used to be prosperous, but then Gato came and well, you see the results. Sakura said nothing as they walked. She just let the man talk. That's why we need that bridge. It's more than just a bridge, you see, it's a symbol of courage. If I can just give these people something to hope for, if that bridge could be completed, then maybe things will go back to how they used to be. Tazuna said. And in that moment Sakura hoped they could finish the mission, not because they were paid to do it and not because of the excitement and dangers of the mission, but because these people needed it. They needed hope. "I thought I told you to rest up," Naruto said. He felt Sasuke's presence behind him. "I did. And now I'm back," the raven-haired boy replied. Naruto sighed and turned to look at him. "Okay, but if you push yourself too much, I'm reserving the right to restrain you," Naruto warns. He tosses the Uchiha kunai which he catches. "Remember, too little and you won't stick, too much and you bounce off." Sasuke acknowledges the statement with a nod. He stares determined at the tree and begins. Time skip. It's dinner time, and the members of Team 7 and Tazuna's family gather around the table to have dinner. Sasuke eats uncharacteristically fast, while Naruto and Sakura wonder what the heck is up with him. "Sasuke-kun, maybe you shouldn't eat so fast," Sakura warns. "Naruto's right, you might." Naruto's warning is cut off by the sound of Sasuke retching throw up. The blonde finishes. Sasuke simply wipes his mouth. "I must eat if I'm to become stronger," the Uchiha says. "Yes, but if you eat too much you might achieve the opposite effect," Naruto said, eating his food. The blonde chews purposefully as if in thought. Sakura, getting tired of the smell of vomit, excuses herself from the table to stretch her legs. She ends up in front of an old picture frame. The picture itself was obviously of the family they were staying with. She could make out Tsunami, Inari, Tazuna, but a large tear obscured the face of someone who was obviously supposed to be there. A husband maybe. Sakura wondered. "What's with the torn picture?" she inquired. Naruto and Kakashi noticed Tazuna and Tsunami tense up while Inari's face darkened. "It seems like there's someone missing." "It was my husband," Tsunami says quietly, bowing her head solemnly. "A hero to this city," Tazuna said. Inari ejects himself from the table and runs off. His mother calls after him. "Inari, wait," she cries, but the boy keeps on running. Tsunami turns to her father angry. "I told you not to talk about him in front of Inari." The woman runs after her son. "What's wrong with Inari-kun?" Sakura inquires. Tazuna sighs and begins to tell the story. The man missing from the picture was Inari's stepfather. Although they were not related by blood, they were very close. Tazuna narrates. "I can imagine," Naruto says softly. "He may not have had a father, but Iruka and Kurama sure came close. The happy times they shared, no matter how little, warmed his heart." It was about 3 years ago that Inari met that man who saved him from drowning. His name was Kaiza and he was a fisherman who had come to Wave Country. They became really close, and in time they became as inseparable as real father and son. Tazuna said sadly. The ninja could tell that this was a hard story for him to narrate, but they hoped he would go on so they could understand Inari better. One day a dam overflowed, causing a huge flood. Only Kaiza was brave enough to go down and drain it. That was when the whole town recognized him as a hero. Then Gatu appeared. Tazuna's face took on a dark look. He grit his teeth and clenched his fist at the painful memories that resurfaced. The incident that changed Inari forever occurred. Kaiza was put to death by Gatu in a public execution. In short, he was made an example of. Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke and Kakashi stared in shock. "What? How could someone do something so terrible?" Sakura cried. Sasuke tightened his grip on his chopsticks, suddenly losing his appetite. Naruto, having experienced the cruelty of human, kept silent with an angry expression. "Gatu, people like him deserve death." "You said it," Suzumebachi whispered from the back of his mind. Kurama hummed in agreement. From that day Inari changed, and so did this whole country. Tazuna finished taking a swig of sake. Kakashi felt he finally understood why the old man drank so much. It was to cope. Such a loss could not be easy to bear alone. Naruto stands and stretches. He heads for the door. "Naruto-kun, where could you be going?" Kakashi asked, though he had a feeling he already knew. "The train. There are some kinks in my technique I need to work out," the blonde said. A tick grew on Sasuke's eyebrow. "Shouldn't you rest?" the Uchiha heir asked in annoyance. Naruto reaches for the doorknob. "Don't worry, I have more stamina than most," he says, closing the door behind him. The next morning Haku puts on his civilian disguise and prepares to gather herbs in the woods. He places a pink flower-patterned kimono over his shoulder and grabs a basket from nearby. Zabuza's snores resonate in the background, making Haku smile. The man was everything to him. Soon the memories of Haku's childhood flash through his mind. He flinches at the painful memories and holds the basket to himself. If not for his master, he wouldn't be here today. The forest is incredibly warm in the morning. Haku sets about gathering the herbs he needed for healing salves and poisons. He works diligently gathering the herbs he would need when the time came to confront the Konoha ninja. He didn't want to hurt children, but it had to be done. The bird lands on his shoulder, chirping happily. Haku pays it no mind, but hears the fluttering of several pairs of wings. Wondering where the sound came from, he turns around to find a flock of birds gathered around a body. Haku glares and prepares a senbon ready to attack. It was one of the ninja he had encountered before. The blonde-haired one who got close to striking Zabuza-sama. What was he doing out here? You're welcome to join me in laying here, you know. Naruto said, sitting up and scattering the birds on him. They flew off and he watched them go with an absent look on his face. Haku hesitantly approached him, recalling that he was not in his hunter nin attire and thus knew the blonde had no reason to attack him. Would you like to help me gather some herb? Haku inquired charmingly. Naruto nods and stands, dusting himself off. He stretches his arm above his head until he hears a crack. You never told me your name. Naruto said, pocketing a green flower. He knew it was for treating bruises, something he and his teammates got a lot of. It's Haku. The feminine male said, smiling. It's nice to meet you, Haku. I'm Naruto. He replies. He knew this was the hunter nin that attacked them before in defense of his master, but right now he didn't seem to harbor any ill intent. Naruto watched him carefully and saw through the smiling facade. Be careful, Naruto. Kurama said at the back of his mind. You don't have to tell me twice. Naruto replied in thought. Anything could happen in this moment, and Naruto wasn't stupid to assume Haku wasn't carrying any weapons. Time passes. The two boys went about gathering the herbs. Naruto of course pocketed some. His extensive knowledge of plants and flowers were proving useful at the moment. He was also learning things from Haku, who knew the properties of the plants local to this region. So Naruto-kun, what were you doing sleeping in the forest? Haku asked, plucking a purpling plant from its stem. I took a break from training. Naruto replied, inspecting a red flower next to him. That's right, you have a forehead protector. I bet you're a really strong ninja. Haku praised. Naruto fought down a blush. This was his potential enemy, but praise was rare for him and he didn't know how to react to it. Thank you. He muttered. But I'm not really. I'm trying to get stronger though. He said, downplaying his strength. It wouldn't do for his potential enemy to think he was strong. Ninja were supposed to strike as quickly as possible and they couldn't do that if the opponent saw a strong attack coming. Oh? Do you want to get stronger to protect someone? Haku asked. Naruto paused. He thought about it. There weren't that many people in his life at the moment, but he wanted to do everything he could to keep them safe, even if they were much more capable than him. I guess. Naruto replied with a small smile. Haku returns the smile with a nod. That's good, when you have something important to protect, that's when you're truly strong. Haku said as a matter of fact. Naruto thought about everyone special to him, from Kurama and Suzumebachi to even his new teammates. You're right. Naruto said. I'm going to get stronger for them. I know you're the hunter nin from before. Naruto said when they had finished picking herbs. You don't seem like you want to work for a guy like Gato. If Haku was surprised at his words, then he didn't show it. The dark-haired missing nin simply dusts off his kimono. That's because I don't. Haku replies, picking up his basket, but I must. It's the only way Zabuza-sama and I can survive as missing nin. Naruto understood. He too had to do what he needed to survive the harsh treatment in Konoha. He couldn't judge anyone else for doing the same thing. You don't have to do this. Naruto said. Haku gave his a gentle smile. You're kind, but I must. Zabuza-sama went back down. I'll see you on the battlefield then. The blonde said solemnly. You too, Naruto-kun. Haku said as he walked away. Naruto watched him leave, knowing that if Haku could stop Zabuza he would without hesitation. But he had to fight to protect him. Naruto clenches his fist before slamming it into a tree in anger. Why does someone like that have to fight? It's just too cruel. Naruto thought. It's the way of the ninja world. Kyuubi replies just as sadly. If you fight him, try to save him. Yeah. Suzumebachi chimes in. You're strong enough. You're a hypocrite, you know that. Sasuke said once Naruto steps through the door of Tezuna's household. The Uchiha was leaning against the wall watching Naruto with a glare. What did I do? Naruto asked in amusement. You told me to take care of myself but went out all night to train. You missed breakfast, you know. I didn't know you cared, Sasuke. Naruto teased, heading up the stairs. A faint blush glows on the other boy's pale skin. I don't, but it's going to be a hard battle if you're not there to fight with us. He said, brushing off the blonde's taunt. Don't worry, I wouldn't miss the fight for anything. Naruto said. Especially not a chance to save Haku. Where are Haruno and Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked, not sensing their chakra signatures around the house. Guarding Tezuna, I stayed behind to tell you to rest up and eat something. Sasuke said, leaving the area, probably to get some training done. Naruto continues to head up the stairs. He passes a few doors to get to his room to lay down. As soon as he passes the door marked Inari, he hears muffled sobs through the door. Naruto pauses, weighing his options. He grabs the doorknob and pushes it open to find Inari holding a picture to his chest. Tears stream down the boy's cheeks as he releases pained sobs. Hey, are you alright? Naruto asked, stepping into the room. Get out. Inari screamed, grabbing the nearest object beside him, which happened to be a pillow, and flinging it at Naruto. The blonde catches it with ease and sighs. He approaches the young boy as cautiously as he could. Naruto was never good at dealing with children, majority of them ignored him or had been taught by their parents to hate or fear him. Get out. Inari screamed again, this time throwing the picture frame he had been holding. Naruto caught it. It was the picture of Inari's family, but with the face of the father figure intact. Naruto looked at it sadly. "I don't think you meant to throw this," Naruto said, placing the picture on the nightstand. "You should be proud of your dad, you know." "Why?" "He died. He promised he was going to stick around forever and he just died. He stood no chance against Gatu's men." "Some hero," Inari snapped. Naruto nodded. "Yeah, he may have died, but he still tried. It was pointless, the strong always crush the weak, why even try?" Naruto sits on the bed next to him. "Because he was a hero," Naruto said. Inari scoffed. Naruto chuckled. "Your grandfather's a hero too." Inari stares at Naruto like he's crazy. "Tizuna's brave, he knows there's a possibility that he's going to get hurt or even killed, but he's building that bridge anyway, but he's not doing it for glory, he's doing it to give the people of Wave Country hope. Your mom's a hero too." "Mom?" Inari asked, listening in rapt attention to Naruto's words. The blonde nods. "She's doing everything she can to support you and your grandfather. Even though she doesn't agree he should build the bridge because it may put all of you in danger, she still supports him. She's staying strong for the both of you. Being a hero doesn't always mean doing something big, sometimes it's the little things, like saving a drowning kid or speaking up against a tyrant or even just doing something, even though you're scared. At the end of the day, a hero is someone who gives others hope, he's a light that can never go out, an inspiration." Naruto smiles at the boy who's looking down and thinking. "But they could get killed and what good is that?" "Yes they can, they're only human after all. But what's important is that you keep them with you at all times, that way they're always with you in here," Naruto said, pointing to where his heart was. Inari sniffles and soon his eyes fill with tears, he hugs Naruto. The Jinchuriki hesitantly places his arms around the child. He wasn't too comfortable with physical contact, but he would allow it. Inari needed this right now. "You did well, Naruto," Kurama whispered in his mind. "Thanks." Outside Inari's room, Tsunami smiles warmly, maybe now Inari could get on the road to healing. The ninja that your grandfather hired were something, taking on dangerous jobs like these at such young ages. She shook her head, life in a ninja village must be tough. It warmed her heart to see that they could still be kind. Later that evening, Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke notice Inari looking a little brighter around the dinner table. He wasn't wearing his usual scowl, but instead he smiled openly at his mother and grandfather. "Something strange happened while we were out," Sakura said, trying to figure out what was up with Inari. She wasn't upset that he was a little bit happier, that meant he wouldn't give them attitude, but she wondered how it happened. "I think he just realized something important," Naruto said cryptically. "And what would that be?" "You'd have to ask Inari," Naruto told Sakura. She shook her head and preferred to just let it be. The kid deserved happiness, in fact everyone in Wave Country did. "Naruto, I want you to stay here and rest tomorrow," Kakashi said. They were sitting outside on the roof on Tizuna's house, keeping watch over any thugs that tried to break in. Naruto had already caught one previously, and Kakashi had rounded up two. Gatu was really persistent, luckily none of them were at Zabuza's level, or even at the Demon Brothers level. "You mean you want me to stay and protect Tizuna's family?" Naruto said. Kakashi's visible eyes widened. Naruto didn't have the Sharingan, but he saw through him instantly. "Add and rest up, I've noticed you've been training with double the effort these past few days," Kakashi said. "I will, but I'll send a clone with you just in case," Naruto said. "I have a feeling Zabuza's going to show up when you least expect it." Kakashi eyed him with suspicion. Naruto was an enigma. Since the first time they'd met, the blonde had intrigued him, but Kakashi felt that his heart was in the right place and he wouldn't knowingly put anyone in danger. "You really think he'll make an appearance?" Kakashi asked. "Hi," Naruto replied. "In that case, leave a couple of clones here, you'll come with us," Kakashi said, standing up. There was a rustle in the bushes. He and Naruto attack, easily catching the thug. Naruto sighs. Will they ever learn? The next day, Team 7 prepared to escort Tizuna to the bridge. Sasuke and Sakura prepared for another boring day guarding the bridge while Kakashi and Naruto and prepared for a fight. Tizuna heads out the door shouting a hearty goodbye to his family. Tsunami and Inari wave back happily. Sakura follows him, next Sasuke goes, followed by Kakashi. Naruto stops at the door and puts his hands together in a hand sign. Two clones appear in a poof of smoke. "Take care of them," Naruto instructs. The clones salute their creator as he leaves through the front door. Tsunami and Inari stare, they were not used to seeing ninja techniques firsthand, being from a civilian village. "Cool," Inari exclaimed. "Don't worry, you're in good hands," the first clone said. "I'm Skip." Inari was washing his hands in the bathroom when he heard his mother scream. He runs out of the bathroom to find two mean-looking men wielding swords threatening her. One of them had an eye patch and a sash around his waist. He had Inari's mom in his hold, and he laughed as he shook her. "Mom?" Inari cries. He feels a hand pick him up by the back of his shirt. "Ah, put me down." "What's this, a kid?" He said. Inari struggled to get out of his hold whilst crying. The thug laughed and threw him to the floor. He pulled out his sword ready to kill. No. Wait. You just need a hostage, right? I'll go quietly, just let my son go. Tsunami begged. The thug scoffed and got ready to skewer Inari with his sword. No, don't. If you hurt him I'll bite my tongue off right now and you'll get no one. Seeing her conviction, the leader of the two thugs sheathed his sword. Thank your mother, kid, you get to live another day. The second thug grabs Tsunami with a lecherous grin. Inari watched as his mom was dragged out. He grits his teeth, feeling powerless. How could this happen? Where was Naruto? He heard his mom cry out in pain. Mom, I'm so sorry. He whispered. He clenched his fist and wiped his nose, wondering what he could do and what he should do. No one was here and the only person who could help was missing. It was up to him. It was then that Naruto's words struck him. Being a hero doesn't always mean doing something big, sometimes it's the little things, like saving a drowning kid or speaking up against a tyrant or even just doing something, even though you're scared. The blonde had said. Inari got up with determination burning in his eyes. He ran after the thug screaming. Let go of my mom, assholes. Inari screamed. Kid's got some balls, eh? The eye-patch thug said. He pulls out his sword. Inari keeps running up to them with all that he had. He couldn't let them take his mom, he couldn't sit there and do nothing. Inari, no. Tsunami screamed. Before the blade could come down on Inari, it's knocked out of the thug's hand. The blade clatters to the ground and the thug spins around trying to find the source of the attack. But the man couldn't even finish his sentence before he was knocked out by a lightning-powered punch. The other thug whips out his sword trying to strike the blur that had attacked his partner. Tsunami ran, grabbing her son and bolting. The second thug was brought down by a hard kick to his back. The Naruto clone landed in front of them with a worried expression. Inari, are you and your mother alright? The Naruto clone asked. Tsunami nodded. Where were you? Inari asked, still angry that Naruto hadn't been there. In the forest, taking care of the rest of them. I'm sorry I couldn't get here earlier. The clone apologized. The other clone appeared and began tying the two thugs up. But it looks like I had nothing to worry about. You really stepped up, Inari, wouldn't you say, Tsunami-san? The woman nodded and smiled. Inari, my hero. She said. Tears filled Inari's eyes and he wipes them from his face. I couldn't have done it without you, Naruto. Inari said. The Naruto clone shook his head and poked Inari's chest. No, you didn't need me, it came from in here. He said, patting Inari's head. While that was happening, Team 7 gets to the bridge to find all of Tezuna's remaining workers laying on the bridge floor dead. Tezuna gasps. Kakashi has to stop him from running up to the dead men to check on them. Sakura's eyes widen in fear at the sight. She places a hand over her mouth in shock. Why would someone do this to these poor people? Gato or whoever was truly a terrible person. Kakashi, Sasuke and Naruto went on their guard. Whoever committed the atrocity could still be on the bridge with them. As soon as they suspected, mist began to swirl around them. Garigakur no Jutsu. They heard. It didn't take Kakashi long to know that it was Zabuza and his young accomplice. The mist thickens and the team moves closer to Tezuna, ready to protect him from any attacks. Sakura whimpers as she grips her kunai, looking wildly around, but her eyes couldn't penetrate the thick mist. Sasuke's hand shook in excitement. He had a kunai in his hand. He couldn't wait to fight Zabuza's young apprentice. He would show him that they were not so far apart in skill and not to underestimate them ever again. Naruto's mind spun trying to think up a plan. He had to save Haku somehow. He had to stop this fight before it went out of hand and someone got seriously hurt. Calm down, Naruto-kun, you'll think of something. Kurama said, watching the events through Naruto's eyes. I hope so. Naruto mutters. You'll stop it. Suzumebachi said with the utmost faith in her wielder. You have our powers at your disposal. Naruto nods and unsheathes his wakizashi with a grim expression. I see you brought those brats along with you, prepare to mourn their passing. Zabuza chuckles. A sudden spike in chakra let Naruto know he was about to attack. Shiden caution. Naruto yells, sending a shield up about them. The yellow dome spreads over the team. Sasuke, Kakashi and Sakura stare up at it in surprise. Zabuza and a few clones land in front of the shield with a scoff. Is this supposed to protect you? He sneers, striking the sword with his Kubikiri Haucho. The massive sword impacts the shield, sending Tsubaki flying straight at Zabuza. The yellow light cuts through Zabuza, revealing him to be a water clone. Tsubaki returns to Naruto's hair clip and the shield melts away. Sasuke strikes, flinging kunai at the other clones. Sakura stays close to Tezuna, holding her kunai tightly. She couldn't believe what was going on in front of her. She wasn't prepared for this. She squeezes her hand and round the kunai, watching her teammates and teacher fight. Soon the water clones around them vanish. A slow clap rings through the air. The real Zabuza stands far off to the side with his apprentice masked beside him. You aren't dying that easily, copying in Kakashi. Zabuza said, pulling the huge sword from his back and giving it an intimidating swing. I'm going to enjoy this. Haku, take care of these brats, the girl should be no trouble. Sakura flinched at his words, her shoulders shook in fear. Would she actually be able to fight? Don't worry Haruno, no one on this team is dying today. Naruto said. Sasuke nods in agreement and the tension in Sakura's shoulders loosens. They would get through this as a team. Oh? Zabuza orders, Haku nods and vanishes. Naruto-kun watch out. Suzumebachi screams sensing the incoming attack. Santen Kessen. The yellow shield blocks Haku's Senbon strikes. Haku appears and strikes the shield again with his Senbon, the needles bounce harmlessly off the shield. Sasuke runs out from behind the shield with a kunai ready to attack. Sasuke wait. Naruto calls, but the Uchiha is already chasing Haku further down the bridge. Naruto rushes after them leaving Sakura to protect Izuna. Sasuke's kunai clashes with Haku's Senbon, the Uchiha jumps back and launches himself at Haku again. A clang rings through the bridge as their weapons collide again scraping against each other. I don't want to kill you, simply give up. Yeah right. Sasuke growls putting more force into his push. You've already lost, I have the advantage here. Haku said. Sasuke paused. What? Before Sasuke could react Haku began preforming one-handed seals while he held Sasuke off with one hand. Hijustu. Sensetsu Susho. Sasuke watches in horror as needles begin to materialize all around him soon he was surrounded by them. The thin icicles face him and rush forward. Sasuke. Naruto yells sending Tsubaki cutting through another of Zabuza's water clone. Sasuke channels chakra to his legs and quickly escapes the barrage of ice needles waiting to stab him. Haku dives back from the collision but soon has to dodge a steady rain of shuriken. Sasuke appears behind him with a cocky smirk. Who has the advantage again? Naruto and Sakura sigh in relief, at least their teammate was safe. Haku whips around flinging Senbon at Sasuke, the Uchiha jumps back throwing shuriken once again, the rapid attack distracts Haku allowing Sasuke to get a hit. He sends his foot into Haku's stomach, sending him rolling back to the real Zabuza. Don't underestimate my student Zabuza, Sasuke is Konoha's #1 rookie, Sakura is the brightest in the village, and Naruto is the #1 most surprising ninja. Kakashi said. Naruto wondered if he should be giving out information like that, but Suzumebachi quickly reminded him that it didn't matter. Haku you have to go all out, we can't afford to fail. Zabuza ordered with an edge to his voice, Haku could sense that he was angry and he didn't want to displease his master. Yes, Zabuza-sama. Water around Sasuke began to raise shaping and forming into giant glass-like structures. The glass dome closes around Sasuke trapping him. Hijutsu. Makyo Hyasho. Kakashi, fearing for Sasuke's safety runs forward, Zabuza jumps in front of him. He swings his sword causing Kakashi to jump back to avoid being split in half. Hopping in Kakashi your opponent is me. Zabuza growls. Haku steps into the mirror practically melding with it, he prepares his Senbon, while all Sasuke could do was wonder what was in store for him. Now I'll show you my true power. Haku said, thousands of needles pierce Sasuke's body from all angles, the raven-haired boy isn't given a single moment to catch his breath as he is attacked ruthlessly. Sasuke. Naruto calls, he should have gone with him, he should have stopped him from running head first into danger. Naruto creates 2 clones to protect Izuna and Sakura as he runs off to fight. It's not your fault kid. Kyuubi comforts. Kurama's right. He leapt into danger like an idiot. Suzumebachi said. Naruto shushens past Zabuza and Kakashi's fight with a desperation to save Sasuke from what would most likely be a horrible death. Every moment the Uchiha was in there made Naruto's chest squeeze painfully. Haku notices the blonde approaching the ice dome at phenomenal speeds to save his friend. He didn't want to hurt Naruto, but he had no choice. Melding out of the ice mirrors he flings Senbon at Naruto trying to derail him. Hoten's Anshin. Tsubaki whizzes past the needles and crashes into the ice mirror breaking right through it. The ice shatters right in front of Haku who cannot believe it. The fake hunter nin's eyes widen under his mask. Impossible nothing can get through those mirrors. Haku gasped. What jutsu is this? Tsubaki can cut through anything. Naruto said, brandishing his sword. He meets Haku head-on. Senbon meets sword in a brutal clash. Naruto growls trying to will Haku to back down with the ferocity of his push. Haku you don't have to do this there must be another way. Naruto pleaded, fighting Haku just wasn't right, he didn't want the other boy to get hurt, but the circumstances were too dire, he hoped this would stop before he did something he regretted. The missing nin shook his head. A shinobi is a tool, they must follow orders, and unfortunately I've been ordered to kill you. As long as you keep fighting me I have to follow through. Haku said, Naruto could hear the pain and regret in his voice. The other ninja really didn't want to do this. Your heart is too kind. Zabuza thought listening to the conversation. He almost felt a twinge of guilt for assigning such a hard task to Haku. Almost. Naruto jumps back and wordlessly creates 2 clones, the clones attack Haku, leaving the real Naruto room to save Sasuke, he runs into the broken mirror to check the Uchiha air over. Looks like Haku wasn't really trying to kill him. Suzumebachi remarks, taking note of the minor injuries Sasuke had. A senbon's strength was in its precise aim, so long as it didn't hit anything important like a pressure point or chakra note, its attacks were survivable. I'm fine. Sasuke growls, loathing the fact that he had to be saved again. He nearly shoves Naruto off in trying to get up and rejects any attempts to help him stand. Naruto feels two of his clones pop and hears the ice mirror he broke reform. Haku steps in and prepares his senbon for attack. Naruto-kun, don't hate me for this. I'm only doing this to protect the person that's most precious to me. Haku apologizes. It's no use, Kakashi, your students will never surpass my ultimate tool. Zabuza said. They do not have what it takes to become true shinobi, they do not have it in them to kill. The man chuckles. Kakashi stares off into the dome. He hoped Naruto's surprising skills could help him now, it had proved to be quite efficient against Haku and Zabuza even, but it didn't seem strong enough. Kakashi worried, he didn't want any harm to come to the two boys trapped in the mirror, his heart wouldn't be able to take it if one of his students got killed. I'm going to end this quickly. Kakashi said, uncovering his Sharingan. Zabuza laughed in his face. Sharingan again. Is that all you can do, Kakashi? The Sharingan is not something people just whip out in battle, be honored you're seeing it twice. The silver-haired ninja said. Zabuza cackles out loud before vanishing. I will make that eye of yours useless. Zabuza declares, the mist became infinitely thicker, so thick the only thing Kakashi could see was the edge of his masked nose. But you won't be able to see anything either. Kakashi said. Zabuza's laugh rings through the pervading mist. Have you forgotten, Kakashi? I am Mamachi Zabuza, demon of the mist, master of silent killing. I'll be able to kill you with my eyes closed. Man, this guy sure can brag. Kakashi thought, keeping his guard up. Think, Kakashi, where would he go? The man slowly realized Zabuza would go for the target. Kakashi sprints to Tazuna and Sakura's side as fast as he could. A Naruto clone's sword clashed with Zabuza's Kubikiri Haucho. He struggles under the weight of the huge sword and tries to push back as much as he can. Naruto, Tazuna-san, you have to run. It said. The second clone leaps and tries stabbing Zabuza with his sword. It only takes a moment for Zabuza to pop it with a kunai. The first clone's eyes widen, it was no match for this man. Zabuza pulls back as cuts the clone in half, it doesn't even have a moment to gasp before it's cut out of existence. Zabuza swings again, attempting to end Tazuna's life. Kakashi jumps between them, getting cut instead. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura screams, watching blood drip from her teacher's open wound. Kakashi pressed his hand over the wood to staunch the bleeding. You were too slow, Kakashi. Your eagerness to save them led you right into my trap. Zabuza said. Your determination to protect those brats ultimately failed. Haku's probably killed them by now. No way. Sasuke-kun wouldn't lose to such a guy. Naruto wouldn't either. Sakura exclaimed. She had faith in her teammates, they would come out alive and then they could all go home. Exactly, those two boys are extremely talented, Haku's going to have a hard time beating them. Kakashi said, standing upright. He removes his hand from his chest, revealing the gash that went through his Jounin vest. Another thing, Zabuza, you seem to think the Sharingan is all I'm made of, let me show you what I can do. Within the ice dome, Santen Kessen. Naruto said, extending the shield over himself and Sasuke. They had to think up a plan while Sasuke was recovering inside the shield. Sasuke, are you alright? Naruto asked anxiously, watching the senbon fly and bounce off the shield. Of course I am, I didn't need your help. The other boy hissed. Naruto glares at him. Of all the times Sasuke chose to be arrogant, this shouldn't have been one of them. What is this jutsu? I don't feel like telling you, we need to get out of here, but you're not fast enough. Naruto said. Sasuke growled. Naruto could avoid senbon rain if he needed to, Suzumebachi had made speed his top priority, and extra training made him undetectable to the human eyes, but Sasuke wasn't that fast. If Naruto broke a mirror, it still wouldn't be easy for the Uchiha to run out of the dome unless Naruto protected him. An idea struck Naruto. Agen, Lily, Hinajiki. We have to move the shields to protect Sasuke. He said. Sasuke stared at him like he was crazy. Who the heck was Naruto talking to? Once Tsubaki breaks one of the mirrors we move. Naruto said to Sasuke. The raven-haired boy grudgingly nodded. Poten's Anshin. Naruto shouts, sending Tsubaki out of the shield. Once again the fairy-like creature cuts through the ice mirror, breaking it. Move. Naruto orders. Sasuke runs, taking the yellow shield with him. He makes it through the glass, leaving Naruto and Haku inside the dome. The shield melts away and the spirits return to Naruto. Sasuke-kun. Sakura calls happily on noticing his return form, the ice prison. Where's Naruto? It was then that Sasuke noticed that Naruto wasn't behind him. Worry and guilt pierced his heart. Naruto was probably trying to protect him and stayed behind. The pain in his chest starts to build up until Sasuke is clenching his fist tightly and holding his chest. Sasuke-kun, your eyes. Sakura gasped. The Uchiha's obsidian eyes had turned blood red, with the 3 commas swirling within them on a ring. Sharingan. she said. "Aw. I've got to go back for him," Sasuke said. "But Sasuke-kun, you'll get hurt." Sakura protests, grabbing him. She presses his arms and blood spews from one of the injuries. "Sasuke-kun, you're hurt. I've got to finish this fast, Naruto's in there alone." Kakashi thought. He whips out mid-sized scroll and slips it open. "Haku, we don't have to fight," Naruto said calmly. He figured he could try appealing to Haku's better half. And if it came to it, he would knock the other boy out. "I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, but I must either surrender or die." The ice mirror strengthened and the senbon come flying once again. Using speed, he trained hard for Naruto Shushins, avoiding the flying needles of death. With a determined look on his face, he attacks. Potent Zanshin. The mirror break before Haku realizes, causing him to fall out of it. The momentary distraction allows Naruto to strike. The blonde punches him, breaking the Hunter Nin mask. Haku's face is revealed. Brown eyes meet blue and Naruto's harsh gaze softens. Haku wipes his bloody mouth. "You must kill me as the better shinobi," Haku said. "I refuse." "You're making a mistake, do you realize people have died this way? Letting their enemies escape?" Haku protested. "A broken tool is a useless tool, kill me before I bring more shame to my master." Naruto grabs Haku and shakes him violently. "Listen to me. Zabuza can't be your only reason for living. He can't be all that's dear to you," Naruto said. "You can live a full life, you're still young, don't throw your life away, Haku." Haku pushes him away, resigned to his fate. "You don't understand, he was the only one who accepted me as I am, even with my cursed blood." "Cursed blood? Do you mean your bloodline?" Haku nods in response to the question. Kurigakure was in the midst of a civil war. During the war, people like me, people who had this cursed blood, were used as weapons. As a result, the people of Kiri hated us. They called us monsters and other horrible names because of what we could do." Haku said sadly. Naruto could relate being a Jinchuriki, that feeling of being judged by people who don't care to know you and who never would hurt. It was the life of a Jinchuriki. After the war, clans and people like me had to hide their special abilities or face being killed. For a child like me, a cursed being, death is all that awaited. I had to kill my own father, Naruto-kun, because he killed my mother, the carrier of the Hyutin bloodline, and he was going to kill me. I had to survive." Naruto stood horrified at the tale. It only made him want to save Haku more. Nobody, especially not one as kind as Haku, deserved this. Naruto shook his head. "I know what it's like to be hated for something you have no control over, something you were born with," Naruto said. Haku stared at him in surprise. Naruto swallowed. This was hard for him to do, to open up, but if it would get Haku to see he was not alone, he would do it. "People call me all sorts of names too. Demon Brat is one of their favorites." Naruto chuckled at that. "I'm an orphan, and I've heard people whisper that I probably killed my own parents too. That I'm cursed. But that didn't stop me from having goals or making friends. Haku, you still have a chance. If you die right now, you'll never find out how much more there is to life. So please, live." Tears filled Haku's eyes at Naruto's words. He smiles. "Why do you care so much about me, Naruto-kun?" Haku asked sadly. He felt like the other boy's kindness was wasted on him. "Because I consider you one of my precious people, Haku," Naruto said passionately. Haku's eyes widened in shock. How could he? "Naruto-kun, you're too kind to a mere tool like me." The two of them had the crackle of lightning. The mist had cleared to reveal Zabuza pinned in place by a pack of dogs. The lightning came from Kakashi's hand. It seemed like the Jounin held a ball of pure electricity in his hand. "Chidori," Kakashi's voice announced. The Jounin ran forward, intending to end his battle with Zabuza. The other ninjas struggled to get free of the dogs, but to no avail, their teeth and claws held him too tightly. Right as Kakashi was about to run Zabuza through with his special attack, an ice mirror rose up in front of Zabuza. "No!" Naruto screams, noticing Haku was nowhere beside him. He must have gone to save Zabuza's life. "Naruto-kun, hurry!" Suzumebachi yells in his mind. Naruto shushens as fast as he can to the scene, but he was too late to stop Kakashi from plunging the Chidori into Haku's chest. "Good job, Haku, you were a useful tool after all," Zabuza said. He didn't expect the lighting-enhanced kick that crashed into his skull. Naruto caught Haku's body, the other boy was barely alive. "I hope this works, Oten-kissen." A healing dome forms over Haku's body as Naruto kneels by his side praying. The blonde was far away from the fight, so he wouldn't get caught in the crossfire as he tried to heal Haku. He had to stay calm and trust his fairies to save Haku even if he could not. "You're too soft, kid, there's nothing you can do," Zabuza said, hefting his giant sword over his shoulder. The missing ninja attacks, this time with the intention to end Kakashi as fast as he could. The copy ninja sees him coming and retaliates with a kick to Zabuza's stomach. The two continue to fight with Kakashi beating Zabuza. Every blow the missing nin threw Kakashi would counter and hit back just as hard, if not harder. A punch sends Zabuza backing away, his chest heaved tiredly, and he could barely hold his sword up. "Why can't I beat him?" Zabuza asked. Kakashi appears behind him, twirling a kunai in his hand. He jams it into Zabuza's arm. The missing nin drops the giant sword and hisses in pain. His arms dangle uselessly by his side and he is unable to move them. "You've lost, Demon of the Mist," Kakashi said. "What's this, you haven't killed these guys yet?" A voice that came out of nowhere said. Everyone directed their attention to a short man in a suit and tacky sunglasses. Behind him was a crowd of snarling, angry thugs with all manner of weapons. "Atu, what are you doing here?" Zabuza asked. "Well, the plan has changed. Actually, I was planning to do this from the beginning," Gatu said arrogantly. "You're too expensive, so I never planned on paying you any money. I was sure these ninja would kill you and then I would kill them." Gatu laughed obnoxiously, causing the thugs behind him to do the same. Sasuke glared at the newcomers. Here Gatu was, the cause of all this. Sakura gasped at the audacity the short man had. Didn't he have a heart? If looks could kill, Gatu would be dead. With the way Naruto was glaring at him. Gatu stares at the blonde, then at Haku, who was under the healing dome. "Is that little shit dead?" Zabuza's eyes widened and he faces Gatu with a menacing expression. Killing intent filled the air, making Gatu sweat a little. "Kakashi, our fight is over. I have no reason to go after Tazuna now, especially since I'm not going to be paid for it," Zabuza said. Gatu scoffed. "Some demon, you're more like a cute little baby devil." Gatu mocked. "It's a good thing that whore that followed you around is dead as well. Such shame too. I can think of a few things to do with a pretty face like that. I should kill that guy." Suzumebachi snarls. "Be my guest," Kurama said. "Zabuza, are you just going to let him say those things?" Naruto asked. At Zabuza's nonchalant attitude he continues. "Don't you care? Haku loves you, he really does. He was going to throw his life away for you. Doesn't that mean anything to you?" "Shut up." Zabuza growls. He faces Naruto and the blonde could see that was crying. "You don't have to keep going," the man said. Naruto quiets, surprise evident on his face. He had written Zabuza off as someone who just used Haku, but now, Naruto was starting to think the man cared more than he let on. "I know I'm not the best man, but Haku is all I got. I don't deserve someone that good." It pained him to fight, but he did it anyway. "He only fought because I made him, and for that I am truly sorry." Tears streamed down Zabuza's face as he spoke, showing he truly regretted his past actions. Naruto nods. "Tell him that when you get back," Naruto said. Zabuza looked towards the dome to find Haku staring back at him with a weak smile. "Hey Kakashi, why don't we team up to take this guy down?" Zabuza said, unwrapping the bandages around his mouth somehow. "I'm listening," Kakashi said. Naruto throws Zabuza a kunai which he catches between his teeth. The blonde walks up to his sensei's side ready to fight. "Hey Sasuke, why don't we show these guys what Konoha ninja really stand for?" Naruto said. The Uchiha smirked and took a kunai from his holster. "Hell yeah." He agrees. Together they rushed the crowd of thugs, flaring killing intent so thick you could cut it with a kunai. Suzumebachi decided she wanted to get in on this action. She expels herself from the mindscape, joining Naruto and Tsubaki in mowing down opponents left, right and center. "Kurama, you're really missing out." Suzumebachi laughs as she spins around. All around them the criminals were exploding in butterfly crests, making Kakashi and Sasuke pale, but causing Zabuza to chuckle. "Your student is really something, Kakashi," Zabuza said though his clenched teeth. Kakashi almost didn't hear him. Atu ran through the crowd of men trying to get away from Zabuza. He didn't expect this to go so wrong, yet here he was running for his life. The Konoha ninja were supposed to kill Zabuza and he would go scot-free after he killed them. As he ran he could hear bodies piling up behind him. Zabuza chased Gatu down, with the Konoha ninja covering him. He was able to get ahead much faster than if he would have been alone. "Look W, we can make a deal, okay? Join my PP personal squad and you won't ever have to run again." Gatu simpered pathetically. Zabuza was twice his size and he towered over the short man, breathing heavily and angrily. "This is for Haku, you son of a bitch," Zabuza said. With a swish of his head he ended Gatu's life. The rest of the thugs ran. Now that their meal ticket was dead, they had no reason to stick around. Zabuza went to lay by Haku's side. Naruto extended the dome so he could be healed as well. Kakashi watched as damage he, though impossible to repair, simply closed up. The kunai and other weapons lodged in Zabuza fell with clinks as they hit the ground. "You'll be alright," Naruto reassures, watching Zabuza's eyes close shut. 2 weeks later, Tazuna was finally able to finish the bridge without the constant interruptions and all his workers beside him. The bridge was as magnificent and spectacular as he wanted it to be, with the help of Team 7 of course. "So what are you going to do?" Naruto asked Haku. The two of them were in the forest once more, gathering medicinal and poisonous herbs. A wave of nostalgia hit Naruto. This was the place they met. "Zabuza and I are going to continue as mercenaries, but he promises we'll never work for people like Gatu again," Haku said. "He promises?" Naruto didn't sound like he believed it, but he would hold Zabuza to his words. Haku giggles. "You should trust him more, Naruto-kun." Haku said. I'm already trusting him with you. Naruto grumbled. Thank you Naruto-kun. Haku said suddenly. The blonde boy turns to him with a quizzical expression on his whiskered face. For what? For everything. I would have died on that bridge if not for you, Zabuza might have as well, but you not only did you convince me not to throw my life away, but you gave me a second chance, and I cannot thank you enough. Haku hugs Naruto making him blush. The blonde had gotten used to the sudden hugs people gave him during this mission. Everyone from Inari to Tsunami, to Zuna and even Zabuza. The man had given him a rough hug that suffocated him more than anything else, but Naruto could appreciate the sentiment. Ah, you're welcome Haku, after all you are one of my precious people. Naruto said laying on the forest grass. You should come visit Konoha sometime. I would love to see you. I will. Haku promises. Time skip. Remember you guys are always welcome in Wave Country. Tazuna shouts as he bid the Team 7 farewell. His family stands with him as well as the two missing ninja Kakashi and his team have to know. Zabuza gives Kakashi a smirk and the other man responds with a bored look. Haku hugs Naruto one more time before they part. Keep in touch. Haku says. I will. Naruto replies. Naruto turns to Inari to see the boy was holding back tears. He pats the child's head with a fond look. You can cry if you want to. Tears don't always mean weakness. Naruto said. Inari shakes his head. No I don't want to cry, I'll miss you. Inari said. I'll miss you too, hero. Naruto said. Inari rubs his eyes trying to hold back the tears. He fails, liquid fills his eyes, and tears start rolling down. You know, we really have to name this bridge. Tazuna said once Team 7 had left. I can't believe I didn't ask for suggestions. How about the Great Naruto Bridge? It might be a little biased since he saved my life. Haku suggests. I like it. Inari said. Tsunami nods in agreement. Okay then the Great Naruto Bridge it is, Tazuna said. Zabuza huffed, staring into the distance. He could barely make out the figures of the Konoha ninja. And Naruto is going to be someone great. He said. What if Neglected Naruto wields suzumebachi? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.